In a little over a day, Lin Moyu and his group had already walked a long way. When Wei Xian used the time magic weapon, Lin Moyu still sensed it. Lin Moyu's mouth curled up slightly. He knew that he would get nothing. The mark of time had long been erased by him, and he could not find anything except the breath of the Zerg. The reason why Lin Moyu finally summoned the Zerg Mother and let the Zerg Mother kill Peng Yun and the other four was to cover up his breath. The Zerg's breath was very strong, and their presence could naturally divert attention. He was not afraid of Qin Yun's sect, but he did not want to face the Seven Colors lair for the time being. It would be very troublesome if a random Dao Zun came. After another half a day, a strong breath flew from afar. Lin Moyu whispered, "I will send you into the world of rules." He waved his hand and took Xiaoye and others back to the world of rules, and walked slowly on the land alone. After a while, a Dao Zun flew over Lin Moyu's head. "Look at his clothes, he is the Dao Zun of 7 colors." It seems that they did not find enough information. Lin Moyu looked at the Dao Zun who was going away. His heart was as clear as a mirror. The people of the 7 color sect must have failed to find the clues, and they were unwilling to give up, so they went to look for them. The Dao Zun was fast, and the search range would be very wide, but it was also impossible to find him. After a while, when he was sure that there was no problem, Lin Moyu released Xiaoye and others again. Xiaoye asked cautiously, "Master, did I cause you trouble?" Lin Moyu smiled. "Some things are destined, and they will come to you sooner or later, and it has nothing to do with what you did." Xiaoye seemed to understand. "Just like the meeting between Junior Brother and Xiaoye, is it also destined?" Lin Moyu smiled. "That's called fate. Fate is a very strange thing, unpredictable. You don't have to worry too much about this issue, just let everything take its course." Xiaoye said, "Oh," although she didn't quite understand what Lin Moyu said, she still wrote it down very obediently. Xiao Wu said on the side, "Master means that you can do whatever you want, don't worry about anything else, the master will help us if there is any problem." Lin Moyu moved his finger, and a finger suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Wu's forehead and knocked on Xiao Yuan's forehead. Xiao Wu covered her head and screamed, "Master, why do you hit Xiao Wu again? You are so outspoken, you deserve to be beaten." Lin Moyu said softly. Xiao Wu was obviously dissatisfied, but she didn't dare to talk back. She would be beaten every time she talked back. There was a precedent. Just as Lin Moyu thought, Wei Xian didn't find the answer in the end. However, they were sure that this matter was inseparable from the Zerg. The 7 color sect could not make the decision about the arrival of the Zerg. They reported the matter to Hans Wei Saint, and Hans Wei Saint Land solved it. However, Elder Kai Yin, after hearing that someone with a natural jade soul appeared, began to search on a large scale. The entire 7 color sect was in motion, looking for people with natural jade souls. After walking for a few days, they were far away from Han Guang and left the 7 color sect's sphere of influence. The group finally saw a big city, which was called Thunder City. From afar, there were thunder clouds all over the sky above Thunder City, and the thunder was evolving into a sea. Above the sea of thunder, it seemed as if there was a thunder palace standing on it. Thunder City was a big city, completely different from Guanhai City and Linhai City. The biggest difference was that there was a teleportation array in the big city. On the origin continent, the space was too stable, and even a cultivator like Lin Moyu who mastered the laws of space could not open the door of space and travel billions of miles in an instant. It was extremely difficult to break the space limit and build a teleportation array on the origin continent, and the cost of using it was also very shocking. Therefore, only in some big cities, there will be teleportation arrays, and the distance of the teleportation array is also limited. Lin Moyu knows that in addition to this public teleportation array, there is also a teleportation array within the sect, which is called the Spiritual Vein Teleportation Array. Through the veins of the origin spiritual vein, such as the Hansui Holy Land, they can teleport through their own spiritual veins and directly reach the city where the spiritual vein is located. It is precisely because of this that the Hansui Holy Land can quickly come to Linhai City from the Holy Land, relying on the spiritual vein teleportation array. However, this teleportation array is completely controlled by the Hansui Holy Land, and the Linhai City Lan family is not qualified to use it. The Holy Land can go directly to Linhai City, but Linhai City cannot go to the Holy Land. There is also a spiritual vein under Leicheng, which does not belong to the Hansui Holy Land. It is an independent origin spiritual vein. Leicheng has become a big city relying on this origin spiritual vein, and is extremely famous in the entire origin continent. Even people in other regions will know the name of Nanzhou Leicheng, especially the Lei family in Leicheng, which has the talent of manipulating thunder and is extremely powerful. The Lei family in Leicheng is not much weaker than the Seven Color sect. The two sides sometimes fight, and each has its own victory or defeat. When they came to Leicheng, they were basically out of the Seven Color sect's sphere of influence. When they came to Leicheng, the human emperor quickly sorted out the information about Leicheng and handed it to Lin Moyu. Those heavenly masters placed in front of the human emperor provided extremely detailed information because of the human tomb. Even if each of them has some missing information, you say a little, I say a little, and the human emperor can make it up. Especially these heavenly masters of Qingyun sect, who know Leicheng very well. As Leicheng's old rival, the two sides have fought many times over the years. Often, the one who knows oneself best is one's opponent. Before entering the city, Lin Moyu already had a rough outline of Leicheng and the Lei family. Accompanied by bursts of roars, the group entered Leicheng. At the moment of entering the city, the thunder stopped. Looking up, you can see lightning and thunder, but you can't hear any sound. A huge formation enveloped Leicheng. This formation is very powerful, and it is almost impossible to resist it under the Heavenly Master. Once the formation is fully fired, it can even pose a threat to the Heavenly Venerable. The strangest thing is that although there are constant lightning on the formation, most of the light of the lightning is blocked by the formation. Whether it is the Sun origin or the Taiyu origin, their power and light can pass through the formation and spread to every corner of Leicheng without hindrance. Walking on the streets of Leicheng, high-rise buildings can be seen everywhere, and practitioners coming and going. The Supreme can be seen everywhere here. As long as you are interested, the Heavenly Venerable can also see a little. Xiaoya's eyes were surprised. Leicheng is much bigger than Linhaicheng. This bigness is in all aspects. Not only does the city occupy a large area, but every building and every house is much larger and more magnificent than Linhaicheng. That's it, just eat something. Lin Moyu found a restaurant called Suolei. He and Xiaowu cannot eat, but Xiaoya can't. Xiaoya not only needs to eat, but also needs to eat some food in the origin continent. The food in the origin continent carries more or less the origin qi, which is very helpful for Xiaoya's growth. When Xiaoya reaches the super god realm, she can use the origin energy, get Wang Zhao, to replace food. There are many people in the restaurant. Several people found a seat and sat down. Xianyo also followed them. It shrunk its size and sat at the table together. On the origin continent, mounts are not necessarily mounts. It is not surprising that many people sit at the table together. After ordering the dishes, Xiaoya still looked at the outside world, and finally couldn't help but exclaimed, "What a big city!" Xiaowu also looked at Leicheng, but she was not as excited as Xiaoya. Instead, she was a little disdainful. "It is quite big, but not as big as Shencheng." Xiaoya asked, "Miss, where is Shencheng?" Xiaowu explained, Shencheng is the main city of the human race in the rule world. It is very big, almost 10 times the size of Leicheng. Xiaoya's eyes were misty. "It's so big, I really want to see it." Xiaowu said, "Okay, you tell the master and let the master take you there." At this time, a sneer sounded next to him. "You actually compare Leicheng with the cities in the rule world, is it comparable?" I saw a little girl of 15 or 16, with a look of dissatisfaction on her face, staring at Xiaowu. The little girl stared at Xiaowu, and Xiaowu was not to be outdone, staring back with her big eyes. The two looked at each other, as if lightning met in the air. Neither of them gave in. Lin Moyu watched from the side, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, but he was too lazy to stop her. The little girl was only in the super god realm, and she was very young. Although Xiao Wu looked like a child, Lin Moyu knew that she would not mess around, let alone bully children. After staring at each other for a while, the little girl was still young after all, and could not compete with Xiao Wu, a veteran, and was quickly defeated. Xiao Haha laughed. I won, you. The little girl snorted. What did you win? Who is competing with you? Xiao Wu shouted. If we are not competing, why are you glaring at me? The little girl snorted again. I glared at you because you said bad things about Lei Ching. Xiao Wu looked strange. What did I say about Lei Ching? The little girl said, you compare the city in the real world with Lei Ching, which is an insult to Lei Ching. Xiao Wu said, so that's the case, but I'm telling the truth. The achievement is greater than Lei Ching. The little girl said, what's the use of being big? The city in the real world is not as powerful as Lei Ching. Xiao Wu nodded vigorously. That's right, it's not as powerful as Lei Ching, but it's really big. The little girl said, why is it not as powerful as Lei Ching? But it's big. What's the use of being big if it's not powerful? But it's really big. The two half-grown girls started a meaningless argument about who is bigger and more powerful. Xiaoye tried to interrupt several times, but failed. Finally, the food and wine were served, and Lin Moyu said to Xiaoye, don't worry about them, we'll eat our own. The delicious food smelled delicious, and Xiaoye's gluttony began to protest, and then Xiaoye resisted, but the resistance was ineffective, and Xiaoye began to eat. The meaningless argument continued, and it lasted for a while, and no one could do anything to the other, and it ended in a draw. Xiao Wu snorted, wait until I'm full, then I'll argue with you. The little girl also snorted, anyway, you can't argue with me. The little girl sat at the table next to her, but the table was empty and there was no food. Seeing Xiao Wu eating heartily, the little girl was so angry that her teeth itched. Lin Moyu winked at Xiaoye, who understood immediately and asked kindly, sister, do you want to come over and eat something together? The little girl turned her head and snorted proudly, no, my servant will bring the real food here soon. I don't like your stuff. Xiaoye said, okay, if you want to eat, come on. Xiao Wu snorted, what real food? I think you are just pretending to be rich. The real thing is that there is nothing to eat. You want to eat, but I won't let you. Dream on. You. The little girl was so angry that her chest kept rising and falling. Although she was not very old, she had grown up to be outstanding. The little girl stomped her feet. You don't let me eat, but I want to eat. As he said, he came to Lin Moyu's table and started eating with both hands. Xiao Wu screamed, this is our food, you can't eat it. The little girl screamed, your master didn't say anything, you said shit, you don't let me eat, but I want to eat it. The two of them quickly developed from a verbal dispute to physical violence, and they were just about to jump onto the table to grab it. Shan Yo and Xiao Yu ignored them and ate by themselves at Lin Moyu's signal. Lin Moyu noticed that the guests at several tables in the distance were looking at him curiously, but did not come over to stop him. To be precise, they were more focused on the little girl. Even the people in the restaurant did not come over to stop them, and they were allowed to do whatever they wanted, which was a bit strange. It seems that this little girl has a very special identity. Lin Moyu thought to himself. Obviously, he didn't come to stop her because of her identity. Lin Moyu saw a mark on the edge of the little girl's clothes. This mark looked like a thunderbolt. It's the mark of the Lei family. This little girl is from the Lei family. No wonder no one came to stop her. I heard that the Lei restaurant was originally the property of the Lei family. The young lady of the Lei family was in their own restaurant, so naturally no one would care about her. It's no wonder that Xiao Wu said that Lei City is not as big as Shen City, and she would have such a big reaction. Suddenly, a strange fragrance flew into the restaurant. Xiaoye's nose moved. It smells so good. Even though Xiaoye was no longer hungry, she felt her stomach growling again at this moment. Not only Xiaoye, but there were gurgling sounds all around. After smelling the fragrance, many people actually, felt hungry again. This fragrance contains a certain law, which directly stimulates the appetite of living beings. This feeling is somewhat similar to the world fruit. The fragrance of the world fruit when it matures also has a similar effect. Lin Moyu has long been accustomed to it, so there is no movement. Xiao Wu and the little girl who were competing with each other stopped at the same time. Xiao Wu sniffed twice. It smells so good. What smells so good? The little girl laughed and said, my food has arrived, and you will be greedy for it soon. I let you look at it, but I won't let you eat it. Xiao Wu snorted, who cares? At this time, footsteps sounded, and someone shouted at the same time, Pingping, what you want is ready. A middle-aged man came over with a food box. The little girl pointed to the table beside her and said, put it there. Okay. The middle-aged man followed the little girl's instructions, put the food box on the table, and opened it. Instantly, a stronger fragrance swept the entire restaurant. Not only in the restaurant, but also outside the restaurant. Countless people stopped and looked into the restaurant. For a moment, countless people's appetites were aroused. Regardless of whether they were hungry or not, regardless of their cultivation level, their stomachs gurgled. In the food box, there was a large piece of meat. The meat was like jade, and it looked crystal clear. The little girl ran to the table, cut off a piece and stuffed it into her mouth, stepping on her eyes, and seemed to enjoy the delicious food. Then she stuck out her tongue at Xiao Wu. Humph, you're so greedy. Xiao Wu shouted angrily, if you don't want to eat it, then don't eat it, who cares about it? The little girl was like a winner at this moment. This time it's a tie. In her mind, she lost the previous staring contest. The argument between Lei Ching and Shen Qing was a tie, and the battle for food with Xiao Wu was also a tie, and now she won. It was a tie of 1-1. Lin Moyu felt that this piece of meat was extraordinary. It not only contained the power of the law that could arouse appetite, but also contained extremely strong power of origin. Eating this piece of meat was equivalent to eating the crystal of origin. Normally, a little girl in the super god realm could not eat this piece of meat. After a few bites, she would probably not be able to eat it. But this little girl from the Lei family was different. She ate a lot of bites and was still able to eat, but her eating speed was not as fast as before. It's not that this piece of meat is extraordinary, but this little girl is not right. Lin Moyu thought in his heart. He unconsciously used the eyes of the dead and saw the soul of the little girl, and his brows could not help but frowned. There were actually 2 souls in the little girl's body. The 2 souls, one big and one small, were tightly connected, and it was difficult to tell you from me. The little girl's own soul was only in the super god realm, while the other soul reached the god realm. The meat that could be eaten was transformed into the power of origin, and most of it was welled in the soul of the god realm. 1 body, 2 souls. Lin Moyu wanted to take a closer look, but suddenly his sight was blocked. The middle-aged man who brought the meat blocked Lin Moyu's sight, with a vigilant look in his eyes, as if asking, what do you want to do? Lin Moyu showed a trace of apology. It was naturally impolite to spy on others with the eyes of the dead. But before Lin Moyu could speak, the little girl named Pingping had already shouted, Uncle San, please move aside. Don't block me. I want her to watch me eat and make her greedy. It turned out that the dispute between the 2 girls was not over yet. Miss Pingping's uncle had no choice but to move aside, but his attention was on Lin Moyu, with a little vigilance. Xiao Wu was so angry that she screamed, believe it or not, I'm coming to grab your meat to eat. Miss Pingping was not afraid at all. Come and grab it if you have the ability, I'm not afraid of you. Xiao Wu shouted angrily, I'm a Tianzuan, can't I beat you? As she said that, Xiao Wu exuded the aura of Tianzuan. At this time, the people in the restaurant knew that the girl who looked like a child fighting just now was actually a Tianzuan. Pingping's uncle's face changed, and he stepped to Pingping's side, looking at Xiao Lu in a dignified manner. Miss Pingping's face turned pale, and she shouted in disbelief, you are actually the Heavenly Lord. Xiao Wu put her hands on her hips, looking arrogant, what's up, are you scared? Pingping snorted, and also put her hands on her hips, not caring that the oil on her hands was all on her clothes. Miss Kuan is not afraid of you. Lin Moyu snorted lightly. Xiao Wu, stop it. Hearing Lin Moyu's words, Xiao Wu was like a deflated ball, and she lost her temper immediately. She held her chin with her hands, sitting on the table board, as if even the food in front of her was not fragrant. Lin Moyu clasped his fists and said, "The children at home are a little ignorant, don't be surprised." He said this not only to Pingping, but also to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man remained vigilant. The children at Daoyu's home have really good cultivation. Lin Moyu said, "You have the cultivation, but you still have the temper of a child." The middle-aged man said, "You have a pure heart, which is rare." The other party was very polite, and Lin Moyu also replied, "Miss Pingping is the same, it's rare." At this time, Pingping suddenly came to Xiao Wu with the remaining half of the meat. "I lost this time, please eat the meat." Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment. "What did you lose?" Pingping said, "You were already in the Tianzuan realm, of course I lost." Xiao Wu said, "We are not competing in cultivation. No matter what, I think I lost anyway. Do you want to eat it?" "Eat." Xiao Wu immediately prepared to eat without hesitation. The chopstick stretched out, but passed through the meat and could not touch the meat at all. Xiao Wu exclaimed in surprise, "Only the meat is virtual. This strange piece of meat is actually full of virtual power. It seems to exist in front of you, but it cannot be touched at all." Under the effect of the power of the void, this piece of meat became a piece of illusory meat that was hard to see. Pingping handed the knife in her hand to Xiao Wu. "You have to use this knife to cut this meat, not chopsticks. This knife looks ordinary, but it is actually a magic weapon containing the power of the void. It is reasonable that a magic weapon with the power of the void can cut meat full of the power of the void." Xiao Wu did not take the knife. She did not believe in evil. "Let me try." She stretched out her little hand, and a hazy power suddenly appeared on her hand, which was also the power of the void. The power of the void in Xiao Wu's hand turned into a knife, and then cut it down with a knife, and immediately cut off a piece of meat. The cut meat seemed to lose the power of the void and became graspable. Pingping was surprised. "How did you do it?" Xiao Wu smiled. "The power of the void, I can do it too." Pingping's uncle was stunned and murmured, "It turned out that the power of the void made the heavenly venerable." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "It's just luck." Uncle San shook his head. "This is not a matter of luck. Those who can achieve the power of emptiness and become a heavenly venerable in the world are all top talents. It will not be a problem for them to become a Taoist venerable in the future. Although becoming a heavenly venerable requires understanding the reality of emptiness, it is only understanding, not truly understanding and mastering the power of emptiness. Knowing that 1 + 1 = 2 and knowing why 1 + 1 = 2 are concepts of different levels." At this moment, Uncle San seemed to have let down his guard and his expression was a little relaxed. Lin Moyu was very humble. "Dao, you are too kind. Miss Pingping is also very talented and has a bright future." Uncle San looked at Pingping, who was eating happily, with a hint of pampering and regret in his eyes. "Maybe." Lin Moyu heard the deep meaning in his words, and also noticed that there was something wrong with his eyes, looking for a kind of regret, which could not be deceived. Lin Moyu transmitted the message, "Is it because of Miss Pingping's dual souls?" Uncle San glanced at Lin Moyu. "Dao, you really saw it. It is indeed dual souls in one body." At this time, Pingping handed a piece of meat to Xiaoya. "Little sister, you try it too, it's delicious." Xiaoya glanced at Lin Moyu, and only after getting Lin Moyu's approval did she feel at ease to take the meat and put it in her mouth. The meat melted in her mouth. Xiaoya enjoyed the supreme delicacy, closed her eyes, and showed an expression of enjoyment. Uncle San glanced at Xiaoya. "This little girl seems to be very talented. Is she also a family member of Dao Yu?" Lin Moyu hummed. "Xiaoya is my direct disciple. 0 request flowers 0. Then he sent another voice transmission. "Dao Yu, can you tell me about Miss Pingping's dual souls? I have a lot of experience in treating souls, maybe I can help." A gleam of light suddenly appeared in Uncle San's eyes, and then it went out dimly. Thank you for your kindness, Dao Yu. In fact, our Lei family has thought of many ways to deal with Pingping's situation, but they all ended in failure. To be honest with Dao Yu, we even invited a 6th-level alchemist, but the result was still not ideal. I don't know how long Pingping can last. The look in his eyes when he looked at Pingping was full of pampering, but also full of regret. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. I may stay in Leiching for a few days. If Dao Yu needs it, you can come to me." Since the Lei family didn't think it was useful, Moyu would not take the initiative to get close to him. The effects of sending charcoal in the snow and adding icing on the cake are very different. If Lin Moyu wants to do it, he will naturally do the former. 0. He believed that with the ability of the Lei family, as long as he was still within the Lei family's sphere of influence, the Lei family would be able to find him. The 3 little girls shared a large piece of meat. Pingping was finally full, and suddenly she narrowed her eyes and murmured, "I'm so sleepy, Uncle San, I want to sleep." Uncle San gently supported her, "Go to sleep if you're sleepy." Before falling asleep, Pingping said to Xiaowu and Xiaoye, "Come to my house to play when you have time." As soon as the voice fell, Pingping fell asleep with her head tilted at an absurd speed. Uncle San changed Pingping's posture and held her in his arms like a princess. At the same time, an invisible force enveloped Pingping, forming a soft bed. He said, "I wish you a happy time in Leiching these days. We will meet again if we are lucky." Lin Moyu nodded, "See you again if we're lucky." Uncle San carried Pingping away. Xiaoye held her belly. "I'm so full." In fact, she was full after eating 2 pieces of meat, but the meat was so tempting that she couldn't stop and ate several more pieces, almost bursting her belly. Xiaowu was at a high level, so she didn't feel anything, just thought it was delicious. Xiaowu whispered, "Master, I feel that this Pingping is not right." Lin Moyu smiled, "Tell me, what's wrong?" Xiaowu looked around. "It's not good to talk about it here." Lin Moyu smiled. "When did Xiaoji become so smart?" Xiaowu snorted, "I'm very smart, okay." Lin Moyu joked, "Very smart, just playing with Pingping like that." Xiaowu looked as if it was a matter of course. "It's fun. Doesn't the master think that Pingping is actually very interesting, fun and cute?" Leiching is very lively, with people coming and going, but the roads are also wide. Lin Moyu and his group walked on the road without feeling crowded at all. Xiaowu and Xiaoye sat on the back of the calf, leisurely. In the city, there are many cultivators like Xiaowu and Xiaoye who have mounts, and they are not strange at all. On the Origin continent, there are many sects that make a living by taming and selling spirit beasts. Xiaowu talked about her opinion of Pingping. When Xiaowu and Pingping were fighting for food, they had physical contact. With her strength in the Tianzuan realm, she also felt a lot. That Pingping is very strange. I feel like there are 2 people living in her body. 2 people, one big and one small. The big one seems to be eating the small one. When the big one eats up the small one, Pingping may die. Xiao Yu exclaimed, "How could this happen? That's not very pitiful." Although Pingping has a bad temper, she looks very cute. In the end, she even gave her some meat to eat. Xiao Yu has a good impression of her. We are all the same age, so we will naturally get closer. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "Have you heard of 2 souls in one body?" Xiao Wu and Xiao Yu shook their heads at the same time. Lin Moyu just got important information about Pingping from the human emperor. In the previous information, there was no news about Pingping. The human emperor collected information from the overall situation and finally got to know many details. Pingping's full name is Lei Pingping. She is the little princess of the Lei family. The whole Lei family holds her in the palm of their hands and regards her as a pearl in their palm. The third uncle mentioned by Lei Pingping, whose full name is Lei Sanxiang, is a Tianzuan realm strongman of the Lei family. Lei Pingping has suffered from a strange disease since she was a child. She needs food with the power of origin to maintain her vitality. The Lei family also invited many people to treat Lei Pingping, but the results were not very good. Until now, the Lei family still has a reward. Whoever can cure Lei Pingping's disease will be rewarded heavily by the Lei family. Lin Moyu knew that even the 6th level alchemist had already taken action, and ordinary people would have no way at all. Xiao Wu asked, "Master, you mean that there are 2 souls in the body?" Lin Moyu nodded slightly. "Yes, there are 2 souls in her body, one big and one small, entangled with each other. Most of the power of the meat she eats is absorbed by the big soul, and the share belonging to Pingping is very small. If I am not mistaken, if the big soul does not get enough food, it will absorb the small soul. In this way, Pingping will be in danger." Xiao Wu asked, "Master, do you have a way to save her?" Lin Moyu said in a deep voice, "2 souls in one body, it is indeed a bit tricky, let me think about it." According to what he had observed before, the 2 souls in Lei Pingping's body are entangled with each other, and it is impossible to separate them by ordinary means. Even if he is not sure. Lin Moyu thought for a moment, and suddenly his eyes lit up, and he thought of a way. With the help of the spirit flower that can heal any injury, Lei Pingping may be cured. This time, the flower spirit and the world fruit bloomed and matured one after another, and most of them were used up in the Dragon Rider's core, and some were left. There are about 100 spiritual flowers and about 100 world fruits. Both spiritual flowers and world fruits are very precious, and Lin Moyu keeps them for emergency use. Under the expectant eyes of Xiao Wu and Xiao Yu, Lin Moyu said, "Maybe there is a way to cure her." Xiao Wu screamed, "Xiao Wu knows that the master is the best, so let's go quickly." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Don't worry, Pingping will be fine for the time being, let's wait for the Lei family to come to us." Xiao Wu asked in confusion, "Why is the master so sure that the Lei family will come to us?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Not sure, but I think they should. There are 2 reasons why the Lei family came to him. One is that Pingping wanted to come to Xiao Wu and Xiao Yu to play after waking up, which is a possibility. The second is that the Lei family has never given up on treating Pingping, and they will not give up as long as there is a glimmer of hope." Lei Sanxiang did not agree immediately before, probably because he thought he was a liar. It makes sense. The Lei family has invited so many people over the years, but none of them could cure Pingping. If he suddenly appeared, the Lei family would certainly not believe it. However, Lin Moyu believes that in the end, the Lei family will still try their best. When they have no other options, they may really come to him to try. According to the information he got, the Lei family, from top to bottom, regards Lei Pingping as a treasure and will not give up easily. Lin Moyu has observed Pingping's condition and knows that Pingping can still last for a while, so he doesn't have to worry. As for whether he can be rescued in the end, it depends on fate. If he is not destined, Lin Moyu can do nothing about it. As a big city, Leiqing has everything, and all the major chambers of commerce are stationed there. Compared with a small city like Linhai City, it is many times richer. The layout of Leiqing is different from that of Linhai City. There are 4 markets in the city, located in the 4 corners of the city. The city lord's mansion is located in the center of Leiqing. In the center, there is a tower that is more than 10 million meters high. There are formations covering the outside of the Lei Tower, and runes are flashing. This is the golden signboard of the Lei family, the Lei Tower. The Lei Tower reaches the sky and is the core of the entire Leiqing, controlling all the formations in Leiqing. If anyone dares to make trouble in Leiqing, Leda will teach him a lesson. Once Leda was fully fired and killed Tianzuan. After walking around Leiqing for half a day, Lin Moyu came to the door of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, as one of the largest chambers of commerce in the Origin continent, is majestic. There are 7 stars under the plaque. This also means that Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is a 6-star force. A 6-star force is already the top existence in the Origin continent. Even a giant like Hanshui Holy Land, a hegemon, is only a 7-star force. The strength of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is second only to the Holy Land, and it surpasses most sects. The Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is very large, and some space formations are used to expand part of the space. The ability to change the space in the origin continent shows that this formation is already quite powerful. In the Chamber of Commerce, there are counters, and there is a young man serving behind each counter. In the Chamber of Commerce, there are also a large number of young people serving customers. The young people are both men and women, but without exception, they all have good looks, and their realms are unified in the true God realm, and they are all around 100 years old. Obviously, Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is very strict in selecting people. As soon as Lin Muyu came in, a young man in a plain Taoist robe came to greet him. "Hello, senior, what can I do for you?" Lin Muyu said, "I want to buy some information." The young man immediately responded, "What kind of information do you need, senior?" Lufeng Chamber of Commerce buys and sells everything, including information. Lin Muyu said, "Some information about technological magic weapons and cultivation methods, and I need a latest map." The young man wrote it down. "Okay, we have all these things. May I ask if you are a member of our Chamber of Commerce?" Lin Muyu took out a jade token. "Is this it?" The young man's expression suddenly changed when he saw the jade token, and a trace of respect appeared in his eyes. "So the senior is our senior member." Lin Muyu thought of Lu Fengyao and smiled. "Indeed, a friend helped me apply for a senior membership." The young man said, "Senior, your friend has an extraordinary status." Lin Muyu said, "Why?" The young man said, "Senior membership is not something that anyone can apply for. Only the senior members of the Chamber of Commerce have the power to apply for senior membership for others. Moreover, the senior is a senior member, and the junior is not qualified to serve the senior. Please wait for a moment, the head of the chamber will be here soon." As soon as he finished speaking, hurried footsteps sounded. A middle-aged man hurried over. Lin Muyu could see that the middle-aged man was a heavenly venerable. At the level of heavenly venerable, it is impossible to make a sound when walking. Obviously, the other party deliberately made footsteps just to let him hear. The middle-aged man hurried to Lin Muyu. "Hello, Mr. Lin, my name is Lu Yuan. I am the branch president of the Chamber of Commerce in Leicheng Branch. I am honored to serve you. I wonder what Mr. Lin needs." Lu Yuan said, winking at the young man, and the young man immediately retreated silently. Lin Muyu smiled. "Hello, President Lu. I want to buy some information about technological magic weapons, and a latest map." Lu Yuan smiled kindly. "No problem, we have information and maps about technological magic weapons, but they are all divided into levels, and the price of each level is also different. I don't know which level Mr. Lin wants." Lin Muyu smiled. "Then I'd like to trouble President Lu to introduce all the products at different price points so that I can see the prices and differences." Lu Yuan smiled. "Okay, no problem. Please follow me, Mr. Lin." Lu Yuan was very polite to senior members. There are countless members in Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, but not many senior members. He knows very well what kind of people are the first-level members. Normally, there are only 3 types of senior members in Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. The first type is a person with strong strength. Dao Zun is just a threshold, and not every Dao Zun is qualified. In Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, Dao Zun is also divided into different levels. The second type is the powerful sects and forces. Generally, 1 senior member quota is given to each force above 4 stars. Like the Lan family of Linhai City or the Huang family of Guanhai City, they are not qualified to get a senior member quota of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. Even Lufeng Chamber of Commerce will not establish a branch in such a small city. The third type is for geniuses with amazing talents. There are very few geniuses who may get senior membership without specific standards. In Lu Yuan's eyes, Lin Muyu is the third type. Lin Muyu is not very old, but he is already a Tianzuan realm strongman. What else can he be if not a genius? Lu Yuan took Lin Muyu and others entered a private room, which was a treatment only for senior members. Lu Wu stretched out his hand and activated the formation in the room. A familiar scene appeared in front of Lin Muyu. The formation projected a huge list, listing countless items. There were too many items, and the list was scrolling rapidly. This scene was very similar to the way the human emperor arranged the handover task in the big world. Lin Moyu immediately realized that the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce also used technological magic weapons for management. I just don't know if this technological magic weapon is the same as the one of the human emperor. The two are so similar that Lin Moyu even wants to do it himself. Lu Yuan communicated with the formation with consciousness, and the projection suddenly froze, revealing the price of the technological magic weapon information. The Lufeng Chamber of Commerce divided the magic weapons into 3 levels: low, medium, and high. The low level corresponds to the information below the Other Shore realm. The middle level corresponds to the information of the Other Shore realm, the Supreme realm, and the Heavenly realm. The high-level materials correspond to the materials above the Daozun realm. Low-level materials are the cheapest, requiring only 100 first-level origin crystals. On the origin continent, if there is no special explanation for the price, it refers to the ordinary level origin. If it refers to the boutique level origin, there will be special instructions. Intermediate level materials are hundreds of times more expensive, requiring 100 third-level origin crystals. High-level materials require 100 fifth-level origin crystals. The first level origin is the lowest level and can only buy the lowest level items. As the level of the item increases, higher level origin crystals are also required. Although origin crystals can be exchanged in proportion, this exchange can only be exchanged from high to low, not from low to high. 1 second-level origin can be exchanged for 10 first-level origins, but if you want to exchange it the other way around, that won't work. Therefore, to buy high-level items in major chambers of commerce, you also need high-level origin crystals. This is just the ordinary level, and there are boutique and world level above. Xiaoya looked at the price and couldn't help but exclaimed, "It's so expensive." Lu Feng smiled and said, "Our Chamber of Commerce has clearly marked prices." Lin Moyu asked, "If I want to pay with a fine-grade origin crystal, is it okay?" Lu Feng immediately responded, "Of course, the ratio of fine-grade origin crystals to ordinary origin crystals is also 1 to 10. Lin Moyu calculated that if he bought a high-level technological magic weapon, he would need 10 fine-grade 5th-level origin crystals. If he bought mid-level information, he would need 100 third-level origin crystals, which would be enough for a fine-grade origin crystal song. Xiaoya's little head turned quickly, and she was relieved after calculating it clearly. When she was practicing, she carried a 5th-level fine origin crystal with her. By this calculation, she was much more extravagant. Xiaoya felt that Lin Moyu was really good to her, and she was so lucky to meet such a good master. Lin Moyu had an idea in his mind. "Please take a look at the price of the map." Lu Yuan immediately communicated with the formation, and the price of the map was displayed in the projection. The map was divided more finely, and there were many ways to distinguish it, and the price was also different. From the vicinity of each city to the area controlled by each holy land. There is also a map of Nanzhou divided into 4 regions of southeast, northwest, northeast, and southwest, as well as a map of the entire Nanzhou. As for the map of the entire origin continent, Lin Moyu did not see the price. "I thought that the information of the technological magic weapon was already very expensive, but I didn't expect the price of the map to be even more expensive." The price of the map ranged from the cheapest 1,000 first-order origin crystals to the most expensive 1,000 sixth-order origin crystals. The cheapest map had a very small range, not even 1/3 of the area controlled by the Hanshui Holy Land. The most expensive map was the map of the entire Nanzhou. Lin Moyu asked, "Why is the map so expensive?" Lu Yuan smiled and explained, "This is because our Lufeng Chamber of Commerce guarantees a lifetime update and replacement of the maps we sell. You should also know that in places without the original spiritual vein, the terrain changes very quickly. Almost every few hundred years, there will be drastic changes, and the previous maps will not be valid. As long as the map is purchased from our Chamber of Commerce, as long as you bring the old map, we can update it every 10 years and keep it for life." Lin Moyu suddenly realized that this is the case. It seems that it is not so expensive. Lu Yuan continued, not only is it a lifetime replacement, we also support map upgrades. You can use the map to upgrade to a larger map. You only need to make up the difference. If you think our map is inaccurate, we also have a recycling service, which can be recycled at 50% of the purchase price. Our Chamber of Commerce takes customers into consideration and tries to provide perfect service as much as possible. Lu Yuan Chamber of Commerce has thought of all possibilities. From the perspective of service alone, this price does not seem to be so high. Lin Moyu thought about it and took out a few maps. Can these be upgraded or recycled? Looking at the maps that Lin Moyu took out, Lu Yuan couldn't help but twitch his mouth. These maps are indeed from Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. Lufeng Chamber of Commerce has a mark on every map it sells. Lu Yuan knows at a glance that the owners of these maps are all Tianzuan. However, these maps are now in Lin Moyu's hands, and the result is self-evident. These people are dead, and the maps have become Lin Moyu's spoils of war. One map means a Tianzuan. Lin Moyu took out 7 maps, which means that at least 7 Tianzuan were killed. There should be more than 7 Tianzuan, and not all Tianzuan will buy maps. Lin Moyu's image in Lu Yuan's eyes suddenly changed. Before, he was just a young genius, and now he has to add the word killing god behind him. Lu Yuan did not touch these maps. I'm sorry, our Chamber of Commerce only recycles and upgrades the maps of the original owner. So that's the case, it seems that these things are useless. Lin Moyu was not disappointed, and this result was actually very normal. Lin Moyu said, then give me a map of the Taoism sect. In Nanzhou, there are 4 holy places, 3 major sects, and 2 superfamilies. They are all 7-star forces, ruling most of Nanzhou. Wendao sect is one of the 3 major sects, and its strength is not weaker than Hanshui Holy Land. The place of luck that Xiao Wu had looked for before Lin Moyu is within the sphere of influence of Wendao sect, and it just happens to border the sphere of influence of Hanshui Holy Land. It is a marginal area between the 2 forces, and it is also a place more suitable for the development of new forces. The map of Wendao sect is sold for 1,000 third-level origin crystals. Lin Moyu also asked for intermediate technology magic weapon information, which is sold for 100 third-level origin crystals. The 2 things total 1,100 third-level origin crystals. This price is already very expensive for low-level Tianzuan. Lin Moyu is very generous. With a wave of his hand, 1,100 third-level origin crystals were directly taken out. These origin crystals are his trophies. All the belongings of those Tianzuan he killed belong to him. Lin Moyu is now a real rich man. Lu Yuan didn't care where Lin Moyu's origin crystals came from. He took some of them and said, "You are a senior member of the Chamber of Commerce. You can get a small discount when buying ordinary goods. After the discount, the total price of this transaction is 880 third-level origins." Lin Moyu remembered that Lu Fengyao once told him that senior members can get a 20% discount when buying items. After Lu Yuan received the origin crystals, he immediately asked someone to connect the information and map. The information is placed in a jade card. The jade card is disposable and can only be viewed once. After viewing, it will be automatically destroyed. Moreover, Lin Moyu cannot leak the information in the jade card. When Lufeng Chamber of Commerce transmits the information, it will require the buyer to swear a soul oath to keep it confidential. Otherwise, the market would have been full of exactly the same information, and Lufeng Chamber of Commerce would not be able to make money. The map can be used by others, but if you want to upgrade or replace it, you must come in person. Lin Moyu can understand this. In front of Lu Yuan, he finished reading all the information about the technological magic weapons, and the card was automatically eliminated. Lu Yuan smiled and said, "It was a pleasant transaction with Mr. Lin. I hope Mr. Lin will also be satisfied with our service." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "I have a question. President Lu just said that ordinary chambers of commerce can get a 20% discount. What about extraordinary goods? Lu Yuan smiled knowingly. The reason he said this was that he was waiting for Lin Moyu to ask this question. The goods of our Chamber of Commerce can be divided into 3 categories. The first category is ordinary goods, and the second category is fine goods. Buying fine goods requires some additional conditions, such as using fine-grade origin crystals and corresponding cultivation realms. As for the third category, it belongs to auction items. The Chamber of Commerce will hold auctions regularly, and you can buy some things that you can't usually see at the auction. It's just that not everyone can go to the auction. Of course, as a senior member of Mr. Lin, you can participate. Lin Moyu followed Lu Yuan's tone and showed some interest. President Lu, can you tell me what can be bought at the auction? Lu Yuan's tone suddenly became mysterious, and his voice quickly lowered. There are many kinds of things, not only things, but also other things, such as some beauties. Lin Moyu understood that in addition to auctioning items, living beings can also be bought and sold at the auction. As far as he knows, when forces in the origin continent fight and kill each other, some people on the losing side will become slaves, and these slaves can be bought and sold. The origin continent is far more cruel than the big world. Lin Moyu asked, will spiritual materials and spiritual origin crystals also appear at the auction? Lu Yuan shook his head. Every auction is different, and I don't know exactly what will be there. If Mr. Lin wants to know, he can go to the auction in person. The next auction will be in 10 days. Although it is not a large auction, there will be many good things. If Mr. Lin wants to go, I can make the decision and reserve a room for Mr. Lin. Lin Moyu thought for a while. I will stay in Leiching for a few days, so it doesn't matter if I go and take a look. Lu Yuan smiled. Then Mr. Lin can prepare some boutique-level origin crystals. The things at the auction will be settled with boutique-level origins. Lin Moyu smiled. Then please help me exchange some. I still have some ordinary-level origin crystals on hand, so I will exchange them all for boutique-level ones. Lu Yuan said, no problem, but you might be at a disadvantage if you exchange it this way. Lin Moyu waved his hand, no problem. By the way, I have another batch of magic weapons that I want to sell to you. I wonder if you will accept them. Lu Yuan had already guessed where the magic weapons came from, and agreed, yes, but the price will be lower than the market price. No problem. As he said this, he took out all the origin crystals of level 3 and above that he had recently obtained, as well as more than a dozen magic weapons. These are all spoils of war, so it doesn't matter if he suffers a little loss. Although the origin crystals cannot be exchanged from low level to high level, the same level, Qian Nuo Zhao, can be exchanged between the fine and ordinary levels. In the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, the exchange of fine level to ordinary level is 1 to 10. And vice versa, it is 1 to 12, and the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce wants to make a profit from the price difference. Totaling up, the entire property of more than 20 Tianzins has become Lin Moyu's property. In addition to the origin crystals, there are also a batch of Tianzu realm magic weapons. These magic weapons are not of high level, and they are also ordinary goods in the Tianzu realm. They have no special properties, and they are not spiritual materials. Now they can no longer be used to summon the Weisu Lich. Looking at the magic weapons and origin crystals, Lu Yuan sighed again. Lin Moyu's combat power must be superior, otherwise it would be impossible to kill so many Tianzins. But he is a businessman, just doing business, and he doesn't care what Lin Moyu does. He bought the magic weapons that Moyu brought out at a very low price, and could make a lot of money by reselling them. In fact, Lu Yuan really liked customers like Lin Moyu who never bargained. Lu Yuan handed a storage ring to Lin Moyu. The origin crystals you exchanged are all in it, please count them. Lin Moyu put away the storage ring without even looking at it. No need, I believe in President Lu. Lu Yuan smiled slightly. Thank you Mr. Lin for your trust. 10 days later, I will be waiting for you all to come. Lin Moyu nodded and got up to leave. Lu Yuan personally saw Lin Moyu off to the door. Senior members should have this treatment. When he arrived at the door, Lin Moyu suddenly asked, "Is Lu Fengyao back?" Lu Yuan was stunned for a moment and didn't react for a while. After 2 seconds, his eyes flashed with brilliance. "Mr. Lin, are you talking about Miss Fengyao?" Lin Moyu nodded. "Yes, I don't know if she is back." Lu Yuan shook his head and said, "No." Lin Moyu said, "Oh," and turned away without saying anything. Until Lin Moyu disappeared from sight, Lu Yuan hurriedly ran back to the Chamber of Commerce, muttering, "He actually knows Miss Fengyao." After returning, Lu Yuanji made inquiries. He found that Lin Moyu's senior membership was really given by Lu Fengyao. Although Lu Fengyao and he both have the surname Lu, their status in the Chamber of Commerce is completely different. Lu Fengyao is a direct descendant, and a direct descendant of the direct descendant, while he is just a collateral descendant. If nothing unexpected happens, Lu Fengyao will become a Taoist master in the future and hold great power. Maybe it's normal for him to become the head of the Chamber of Commerce. Lin Moyu's senior membership was given by Lu Fengyao, which means that Lin Moyu is someone Lu Fengyao values. Fortunately, I was polite enough to Mr. Lin, otherwise I would have offended Miss Fengyao. I remember that Miss Fengyao went to the Boundary Sea to participate in the world battle. Mr. Lin said that Miss Fengyao would be back soon. Could it be? Lu Yuan's eyes suddenly brightened, and he thought of a possibility. If Lu Fengyao comes back, she will definitely return as a victor in the World War. So, Lu Fengyao is likely to become a Daozun soon after she comes back. It is even possible that she has already come back and is now in seclusion to impact the Daozun. Lu Yuan felt that he should treat Lin Moyu well, and perhaps in the future, Lin Moyu can say a few good words for him. Then his life in the Lu family will be much better. Lin Moyu left the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce and calmly counted the origin crystals he had. There are only first-level and second-level ordinary origin crystals left. There are still 2,385 first-level ones and 489 second-level ones. All those above the second level have been replaced with fine-quality ones, including 443 third-level fine origins, 295 fourth-level ones, and 75 fifth-level ones. These origin crystals, in terms of wealth, have surpassed most 3-star forces and are enough to be on par with 4-star forces. If a few 5th-level world-class origins are added, perhaps only some 5-star forces can be on par with them. Unknowingly, Lin Moyu had his first pot of gold. In terms of wealth, Lin Moyu was already comparable to many forces that had experienced hundreds or thousands of years. After several people wandered around Leicheng for most of the day, Moyu found a hotel to stay in. He still rented a separate courtyard. Although the cost was high, for Lin Moyu, this little money was nothing. Lin Moyu paid a month's rent directly. At night, the origin of the moon with a cold blow fell on the earth. Xiaoye started to practice boxing as usual, and the fist wind whistled in the yard. Lin Moyu opened the formation in the yard so that Xiaoye would not be affected. Xianyo had fallen down and slept soundly, and Xiaowu ate snacks and watched Xiaoye practice boxing. Lin Moyu went directly into the world of rules and took a look at the spirit-bearded insect beast. After these days of eating, the 2 spirit-bearded insect beasts, one big and one small, finally ate their first origin crystals and had already started eating the second one. At this moment, they were very quiet, as if nothing else mattered as long as they had origin crystals to eat. Looking at the 2 foodies eating happily, Lin Moyu smiled and said, "It's rare to find an origin spirit beast that is so easy to fool." Then he returned to the core of the world of rules and took out all the boutique-level origin crystals. A consciousness was transmitted to Infinite Fusion. "Little guy, can the boutique-level origin crystals be fused?" Infinite Fusion flew around the origin crystal for a few circles, and then came to Lin Moyu and transmitted a simple consciousness, "No problem." During this period, Infinite Fusion has been absorbing and digesting the spiritual origin crystal, which can form an origin spiritual vein. A 6th-level origin crystal with spirituality can at least form a 4th-level origin spiritual vein. Infinite fusion is equivalent to absorbing and digesting an entire fourth-level origin spiritual vein. During this period, Lin Moyu clearly felt that infinite fusion had become much stronger, and it had not been completely digested yet, and was still getting stronger. So he wanted to try to see if he could fuse the fine-quality origin crystals. If he could, he would make a fortune, and he would never have to worry about origin crystals again. For example, he could exchange 3 fourth-level fine origin crystals for 33rd-level fine origin crystals. Then he could fuse 10 fourth-level fine origin crystals with infinite fusion. In total, he made more than 3 times the profit. Once this kind of no-cost business is successful, his origin crystals will continue to flow. Another point is that after establishing a powerful sect, the sect will no longer have to worry about origin crystals. Now that he has received a positive response from infinite fusion, Lin Moyu is delighted. Let's fuse it. Infinite fusion, ordered, and the familiar iron pot was transformed on the spot, and the third-level fine origin crystal was swallowed first. Lin Moyu found that the iron pot of infinite fusion seemed to be more refined, and many exquisite patterns appeared on it. His iron pot no longer looks like an iron pot, but a bit like a big soup pot for cooking soup. The overall appearance has become heavier, and it makes a dull sound from time to time. The origin crystals are constantly colliding inside, making a constant rumble. Infinite fusion spits out chaotic energy, and the chaotic energy evolves into invisible fire, heating the entire pot. About half an hour later, the fusion is over, the pot lid is opened, and a large number of origin crystals fly out. 543 boutique-level third-order origin crystals are fused into 108 boutique-level fourth-order origin crystals, and the other 3 remain unchanged. Lin Moyu immediately understood that the fusion rate of boutique-level origin crystals is 5-to-1, not 3-to-1 for ordinary level ones. Compared with the calculation, the fusion rate is a little lower. But even so, he can still get more than twice the profit by exchanging the origin crystals. Lin Moyu knew that his idea was feasible, but he had to think about how to exchange for a large number of origin crystals. It's definitely not possible to exchange directly. It's okay once or twice occasionally, but if it happens too often, it will definitely arouse other people's suspicion. And high-level origin crystals cannot be used casually. After all, there are few of them, and even the Holy Land cannot use them in bulk. There is a way. Maybe this method is feasible. After infinite fusion merged the third-level origin, it began to merge the fourth-level origin. Lin Moyu did not let it merge all. Some third-level origin crystals can not only have big money, but also have to keep some small money. Lin Moyu continued to perfect his ideas in his mind. If he establishes a force in the future, perhaps the method he is thinking of now will become his stable source of income. Soon, infinite fusion merged all the origin crystals. Finally, Lin Moyu still had 3 third-order, 53 fourth-order, 25 fifth-order, 4 sixth-order, and 3 seventh-order essences left. It seemed that the number of essence crystals was reduced, but the value was much higher than before. Especially the 3 seventh-order essence crystals, which were of amazing value. It was a pity that when the 6th order was fused into the 7th order, it failed once, otherwise there should be 4 7th-order essence crystals. Infinite Fusion said that there would be a certain failure rate when fusing the origin above the 7th level. I had never encountered it before, but now I finally encountered it once. After digesting and absorbing the spiritual origin crystal, Infinite Fusion's own spiritual wisdom has been significantly enhanced, and it can communicate with simple consciousness without guessing. It circled around Lin Moyu, and a simple consciousness came. The previous ones will not fail. This one will fail. The possibility of failure is not high. Lin Moyu understood the meaning of Infinite Fusion. Ordinary origin crystals will not fail when the 6th level is fused to the 7th level, so they can be fused without worry. And the fine origin crystals still have the possibility of failure when they are fused to the 7th level. But compared with before, the possibility of failure has been greatly reduced, and the overall failure rate is not high. Lin Moyu continued to ask, what about fusion into the 8th level origin crystal? Infinite fusion flew a few circles, as if thinking, and then gave the answer, very difficult. After the 7th level, the value effect of the origin crystal is greatly improved with each level increase. Similarly, the failure rate is also greatly increased. Infinite fusion is difficult, that is, it will fail in most cases. If you want to increase the success rate, you must make it stronger. And if you want to make infinite fusion stronger, you need to have spiritual high-level materials. 2 low-level spiritual materials are useless. Summoning elemental liches also requires spiritual materials. It seems that I have to find a way to obtain spiritual materials in the future. It is too difficult to have a spiritual origin crystal. This is unrealistic. I hope this auction will not let me down. However, with my current wealth, it is also difficult to compete with those truly powerful forces. I can only take it one step at a time. Lin Moyu knew very well that he had just set foot on the origin continent and had no foundation. There were many things that he could not expect. What he needed now was time. Lin Moyu's consciousness returned from the real world and saw Xiaoye and Xiaowu playing. Xiaoye had already practiced boxing, and the information was enhanced. The natural jade soul has almost no bottleneck in cultivation. As long as Xiaoye keeps practicing, the realm can be quickly improved. But doing so is not a good thing. Cultivation is not just about realm, but also about state of mind, insight, and the process of growth. These seemingly unimportant things will eventually merge together and become the foundation of cultivation, supporting you to go further. So Lin Moyu only let Xiaoye practice once in the morning and once in the evening every day. Don't be anxious, take your time. They played in Leicheng during the day. Leicheng is a big city, and it takes more than 1 or 2 days to walk through it. At night, they went back to the hotel to rest. On the night of the 4th day in Leicheng, a strong fragrance suddenly drifted in from outside the yard. Lei Pingping actually came to the door and brought the same meat as last time, saying that he wanted to share it with Xiaoyu and Xiaoye. Lin Moyu was not surprised. With the strength of the Lei family, as long as he was still in the city, the Lei family would be able to find him. Xiaowu and Lei Pingping did not know each other until they fought. After the two competed, they turned from enemies to friends and played together in a blink of an eye. Lei Sanxiang, as Lei Pingping's most loyal follower, also came together. He and Lin Moyu sat together and talked about everything. Fortunately, Lin Moyu is no longer ignorant of the origin continent. The human emperor has sorted out a lot of information. Lin Moyu has read them all. Lei Sanxiang's love for Lei Pingping is beyond words. This kind of look cannot be concealed, and Lei Sanxiang has never thought of hiding anything. Although Lei Pingping is the little princess of the Lei family and is loved by everyone, Lei Sanxiang, as Lei Pingping's uncle, seems to be too doting. Even Lei Pingping's biological father may not be so dote on her. However, Lei Sanxiang did not say anything, and Lin Moyu did not ask too much. In the next few days, Lei Pingping would come every other day. Sometimes she would quarrel with Xiaolu, and even fight. Xiaowu would not let her go, and would quarrel and fight if she wanted, but neither of them used their cultivation. It's like a child fighting. Xiaoye tried to persuade them to fight, anyway, she couldn't stop the two of them. Fighting and quarreling like children, their relationship became better and better. Lei Sanxiang and Lin Moyu drank tea and relaxed. It's rare for Pingping to find a playmate. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Is it because everyone in the Lei family is afraid of her?" Lei Sanxiang shook his head. "This is just one of the reasons. There is no one of Pingping's age in the Lei family, and the people nearby also know Pingping, so they don't dare to play with her like this. In fact, living in a family like ours is very lonely, and there are very few friends." Lin Moyu nodded slightly. "You protect Pingping too well." Lei Sanxiang sighed. "Pingping has a hard life, and—" Having said this, Lei Sanxiang didn't say anything more, and Lin Moyu didn't ask any more questions. 0. Please give me flowers. It can be seen that the Lei family is very taboo about Pingping's dual souls, and they will not easily tell it. However, Lin Moyu could see some clues and said casually, in my opinion, Pingping's problem should be brought from the womb. Lei Sanxiang's eyes changed slightly. What else did you see? Lin Moyu said, Lei Dao, you don't have to be nervous. I'm just telling you my opinion. Pingping's problem is a congenital problem. If it is not solved from the root, there is no way to really cure this problem. What you are doing now is just delaying. I don't think it will be delayed for too long. Lei Sanxiang's eyes became complicated, as if he was struggling with his mind. After a long time, he said, Lin Dao Yu is indeed very sharp. We have invited so many people, but few can see that Pingping's problem is congenital. Once a 6th-level alchemy master said something similar, but unfortunately he could only see the problem but could not solve it. I don't know if Lin Dao Yu. Lin Moyu knew that Lei Sanxiang was actually testing, and smiled slightly. Although I have studied the soul quite a bit, I am not completely sure about Pingping's problem. Lei Sanxiang said, How sure are you, fellow Taoist Lin? Lin Moyu thought for a moment. Based on what we have seen so far, I am only about 30% sure. Only 30%. Lei Sanxiang fell into deep thought. 30% sure is really a bit low. Lin Moyu continued, if I had more information, I might be able to increase my confidence. Pingping probably doesn't have much time left, maybe 1 or 2 years at most, or half a year at least. Lin Moyu didn't say anything more. Although it was the truth, it was not pleasant to hear. Lei Sanxiang knew it well, so he sighed heavily and stopped talking. The two fell into silence, and neither of them said a word until Lei Sanxiang left with Pingping. However, Lin Moyu could see from his eyes that he was experiencing a strong struggle between heaven and man in his heart, and it was normal for him to not be able to make a decision for a while. Tianzuan is also a human being. When facing things and people he cares about, it is impossible for him to be completely calm. After they left, Xiao Wu said, Master, are they willing to let you help them in their time of need? Lin Moyu smiled and said, Not yet, but I think it will be soon. Xiao Wu's eyes turned. If the Lei family asks the master to help, what conditions will the master set? What conditions? Lin Moyu smiled slightly and looked into the distance, where there was a mountain looming in the lightning. There is a Leishan mountain 100 miles away from Leiqing. As we all know, Leishan Mountain is the birthplace of Leiqing City and the birthplace of the Lei family. A long time ago, the Lei family was just an ordinary family at the foot of Leishan Mountain. Later, due to some adventures, the Lei family began to prosper, grew rapidly, and eventually became a large family. After becoming powerful, the Lei family established Leiqing 100 miles away from Leishan Mountain. At the same time, the Lei family also blocked Leishan Mountain, and no one was allowed to enter Leishan Mountain without the permission of the Lei family. But the Lei family did not completely block it. Every once in a while, the Lei family would open Leishan Mountain. Everyone knows that the real foundation of the Lei family is actually in Leishan Mountain. Under Leishan Mountain, there is an origin spiritual vein. But the Lei family is too powerful, and no one dares to compete with the Lei family for this origin spiritual vein. Xiao Wu screamed, Master, you actually want to take the idea of Leishan 080, Bang! Before Xiao Wu finished speaking, Lin Moyu knocked on his head. The knock was not light. Xiao Wu covered her head with tears in her eyes. Master, can you be gentler? Xiao Yuan will be knocked silly. Lin Moyu said unhappily, I think you are already silly without knocking. Can Leishan's idea be achieved just by wanting to? Xiao Wu whispered, What does the master plan to do? Lin Moyu said, I just want a quota. There is a core area in Leishan. This place is a good place for cultivation, comparable to many local cultivation places. However, every time Leishan is opened, the number of places that can enter the core area is limited, and the competition is very fierce. Xiao Wu said, Master wants to go to the core area to cultivate. Lin Moyu shook his head, Not me, Mississippi. Xiao Yu was slightly startled. She didn't expect Lin Moyu to want her to go to the core area to cultivate. She instinctively said, "Master, Xiao Yu doesn't need it." Lin Moyu looked over. "I have the final say on whether to use it or not." Xiao Yu retreated immediately, but her heart was full of emotion. Xiao Wu said with a chuckle, "Master is so kind to Xiao Yu, but is the master really sure that Xiao Yu can be cured?" Lin Moyu said, 50% sure. Lin Moyu would not say anything too much, 90% sure. In fact, it is already 100% sure. Xiao Wu said with a chuckle, "Then wait, the Lei family will come to ask the master to help in times of need." In the main hall of the Lei family, the head of the Lei family, Lei Zhengying, sat on the main seat and drank tea slowly. There were several people sitting in the hall, all of them were elders of the Lei family. Among them were Lei Zhengying's elders and peers. Before, a discussion had just ended. Lei Zhengying put down the teacup and said in a deep voice, "The matter about the opening of Leishan this time has been decided. The quota for the core area will follow the previous rules. The day after tomorrow is the annual auction of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. Take 3 quotas for the core area for auction." Lei Zhengying is the head of the family. In the Lei family, the head of the family's words are the law. However, Lei Zhengying is not a one-man show. For most things, he will discuss with the elders and brothers in the family. At this time, Lei Sanxiang strode into the hall and nodded slightly to everyone. Lei Zhengying smiled and said, "Old third, is Pingping asleep?" Lei Sanxiang hummed, "Already asleep." After he finished speaking, he sat in his seat without saying a word. Everyone in the family knew his character and didn't find it strange. The crowd discussed some other things and then dispersed. In a blink of an eye, the hall was empty, only Lei Sanxiang was still sitting there motionless. Lei Zhengying tapped the table with his fingers, and an invisible force naturally rose up and enveloped the entire hall. "Old third, if you have anything to say, you can tell me now." Lei Sanxiang said, "Brother, Pingping has made some new friends these days." Lei Zhengying nodded. "I know that Pingping has new friends, that's a good thing." Lei Sanxiang said, "One of them said that he has a 30% chance of curing Pingping." The teacup in Lei Zhengying's hand shook slightly, and his eyes showed thinking, "What does he want?" Lei Sanxiang shook his head, "No, I haven't asked him to help yet." Lei Sanxiang recounted the conversation between himself and Lin Moyu, and also told about his feelings towards Lin Moyu. Lei Zhengying thought for a moment, "Tomorrow, I will go to see him in person." 000. The next night, the origin of the moon had just risen, and Xiaoye had not started to practice boxing, and a fragrance floated into the yard. Xiaoye smiled, but if it came. In the fragrance, Xiaoye's stomach gurgled again, and the desire for food was aroused. Xiao Wu had already taken the initiative to run over to open the door. Lin Moyu looked outside the yard and muttered to himself, "It's a change of people today." Outside the gate of the yard, Pingping rushed in with food. "Delicious food is here." Behind Pingping, Lei Zhengying walked in slowly. Lei Zhengying has an extraordinary demeanor. As the head of the Lei family, he has been in a high position for a long time. He doesn't look as serious as Lei Sanxiang, but his majesty is much better than Lei Sanxiang. His appearance is somewhat similar to Lei Sanxiang, and his eyebrows are also somewhat similar to Susu. Lin Moyu has already guessed his identity, and slowly stood up and clasped his fists towards Lei Zhengying. "Junior greets Senior Lei." As the head of the Lei family, Lei Zhengying has the cultivation of Daozuan, so Lin Moyu naturally dare not neglect him. Lei Zhengying looked at Lin Moyu, his eyes slightly fixed, and then he smiled. Such a young Tianzuan, a young talent, is really rare. Lin Moyu knew that his age could not be hidden from Daozuan, and he accepted Lei Zhengying's compliment frankly. "Senior, you are too kind, I am just lucky." Lei Zhengying laughed. "How can there be so much good luck in the world?" He came to Lin Moyu, sat down naturally, and poured himself a cup of tea very naturally, said the seat. At this moment, it seemed that he became the master, but it did not make people feel embarrassed at all. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Why did Senior Lei come here in person today?" Lei Jingying asked. I came to meet Pingping's new friend, and I came to see you by the way. He looked at Lin Moyu, and many meanings were expressed clearly in his eyes. Lin Moyu naturally understood. Junior has a secret method to see the soul, so he has some research on the soul. From the first day I met Pingping, I knew that Pingping was a body with two souls, and I also knew that Pingping's body with two souls came from innate. Because I don't know the specific reason, I am only 30% sure. I think Senior already knows. Lei Jingying looked at Lin Moyu and seemed to have some doubts. Suddenly, the immortal flame rose in Lin Moyu's eyes, and Lei Jingying immediately felt that he seemed to be spied on by Lin Moyu. This kind of spying goes straight to the soul. Even if he is a Taoist master, he can't completely block it. Lin Moyu only took a look with the eye of the dead and put it away. He knew that Jingying already understood. Lei Jingying's expression changed, as if he believed Lin Moyu's words, and asked in a low voice, "What are your conditions?" "I saved your daughter, and you paid the price. This is a deal. Brothers should settle accounts clearly. If the price is agreed in advance, everyone will feel at ease." Although Lei Jingying did not ask Lin Moyu to save people, he already hoped that Lin Moyu would help, so Lin Moyu could make any conditions. Therefore, Lin Moyu did not need to hide and directly stated his request. "Next time Leishan is open, I want a place in the core area." Lei Jingying frowned slightly. "The place in the core area is useless for you." Lin Moyu shook his head. "Not for me, but for my disciples." Lei Jingying followed Lin Moyu's gaze and saw Xiaoye, who was practicing boxing. Xiaoye was very obedient. Even if there was something delicious, she would practice boxing first. Xiaoye fought vigorously and her punches were very sharp. Although she was not yet in the super god realm, she was already good. Lei Jingying looked at her for a few times, with a little surprise in his eyes, and then smiled suddenly. "Friend Lin, you have accepted a good disciple." There was a little envy in his tone, and he obviously saw that Xiaoye was born with a jade soul. Lin Moyu 05 smiled. "So the junior wants a place to practice in the core area." Lei Jingying nodded. "Indeed, with such a good talent, a trip to Leishan will not be small." He believed Lin Moyu's words and took out a jade token. Pingping's situation is recorded in it. You can read it, but keep it confidential. Lin Moyu said nothing and made a soul oath, promising not to tell the secrets inside. In fact, he also knew that the Lei family could not tell him everything. What he could tell him might be some secrets, but not those core secrets. The Lei family has developed to this point. As the head of the family, Lei Jingying is definitely not an easy person. What can be said and what cannot be said is very clear. After Lin Moyu made an oath, Lei Jingying handed him the jade token. Lin Moyu quickly read it and knew Pingping's situation. The jade token also turned into powder. Lin Moyu closed his eyes and thought, and Lei Jingying did not disturb him and drank tea slowly. It was not until Lin Moyu opened his eyes again that Lei Jingying asked, "How is it? How sure are you now?" Lin Moyu said, 60%. 60% is already a very high probability, and it is totally worth a gamble. Lin Moyu did not tell the truth. In fact, he is now almost 100% sure. Lei Jingying was overjoyed, but on the surface he remained calm. "What do you need me to do?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "No, I use my own secret method, not elixir." Lei Jingying then asked, "When can we start?" Lin Moyu said, "In a while, wait for Pingping to fall asleep." The two drank tea and chatted, watching the three people play until late at night. They were tired and yawned. In the blink of an eye, Lei Pingping was already sleeping on the ground. Lin Moyu came to Pingping and said to Lei Jingying, "Senior, no matter what happens, please don't disturb me." Lin Moyu said no matter what happens, it is also a reminder to Lei Jingying. Perhaps what will happen in a while will exceed his expectations. Lei Jingying's expression also became serious at this time. "I know, please do as you wish, fellow Taoist Lin." Not only will he not disturb Lin Moyu, but others should not bother Lin Moyu either. Lin Moyu nodded, squatted down beside Lei Pingping, turned his 2 fingers into swords, and tapped her forehead. The aura of the heavenly venerable surged wildly, and the powerful life force instantly swept through Lei Pingping's body. There are strict rules in Lei Ching. No matter who you are, even if you are a Taoist venerable, you are not allowed to take action in Lei Ching. Although Lin Moyu did not take action, her full momentum was enough to be judged as taking action. For a moment, there were lightning and thunder in the sky, and the formation began to operate automatically. A formation spirit appeared in the formation and quickly locked onto the courtyard where Lin Moyu was. Countless people were awakened, and their eyes came across the sky. In just a few seconds, the courtyard where Lin Moyu was located became a scorched eye. Retreat! Lei Zhangying's heavy voice sounded, and in an instant, the formation stopped operating, and the formation spirit disappeared. The next second, Lei Zhangying rose into the air, and his sharp eyes swept around. All the Tianzuan who looked over groaned, and their souls were shocked. Even some of the Daozuan retreated in shock. Although they are all Daozuan, there are also different levels between Daozuan and Daozuan. Lei Zhangying is not an ordinary Daozuan, and there is more than one Daozuan in the Lei family. He can become the head of the Lei family, and running away is not just talk. Lei Zhangying stood here and became the focus of this world, and no one dared to peek. Someone flew from the Lei family at a very fast speed and came to Lei Zhangying in an instant. Lei Sanxiang asked, "Brother, what's going on?" Lei Zhangying looked at the yard. "Friend Lin is rescuing, let's not disturb him." Lei Sanxiang nodded, stood side by side with Lei Zhangying, staring at the yard with a little nervousness. Lin Moyu's body surged with a majestic vitality, quickly covering every corner of Lei Pingping's body, and then dripped towards Lei Pingping's soul world. Lei Pingping was only in the super god realm, and his soul world could not stop Lin Moyu's power at all, and was quickly infiltrated. In her soul world, Lin Moyu condensed into shape, looking at the 2 souls, one big and one small, entangled together. Lin Moyu thought about the contents recorded in the Jade card and compared the situation in front of her with the contents in the Jade card. Lei Pingping's current situation is both caused by innateness and not caused by innateness, and can only be regarded as half innateness. More than a decade ago, a group of people from the Lei family entered Leishan Mountain, where they were attacked. In a fierce battle, Lei Sanxiang almost died. It was Lei Pingping's mother who was attacked by Lei Sanxiang. Lei Pingping's mother was dying on the spot. After returning, she was about to die, but suddenly found that she was pregnant with Lei Pingping. Later, she persisted and finally gave birth to Lei Pingping 687 before passing away. Lei Pingping's injury was also suffered at that time, and it was brought out from her mother's womb. But it didn't exist as soon as she got pregnant. It was only after her mother was injured that she was implicated. It can't be considered a real congenital injury. So her injury can only be considered half congenital. If it existed congenitally, the difficulty would be much higher. This kind of semi-congenital injury would be much easier to treat. Everything must have a root cause. Lin Moyu found its root cause and then had to prescribe the right medicine. No wonder Lei Sanxiang treats Lei Pingping so well. Besides being his niece, she is also the daughter of his savior. She was named Lei Pingping. Pingping means endless vitality. I'm sorry. Lei Pingping has 2 souls in her body since she was born. The 2 souls are entangled with each other and cannot be separated from each other. The other soul constantly feeds on Lei Pingping's vitality. In order to keep Lei Pingping alive, the Lei family tried every possible way to give Lei Pingping all kinds of good things to eat. It can be said that Lei Pingping grew up eating natural materials and treasures, and her cultivation was also pushed to the super god realm. Unfortunately, the growth rate of Lei Pingping's own soul is far less than that of the other party. Lei Pingping is still only in the super god realm, and the other party has reached the god realm. And its appetite has been getting bigger and bigger. Lei Pingping can't hold on for long. No matter who you are, you will die today. You have eaten so many good things, and you have to vomit them all out. Lei Pingping has two souls in one body, one big and one small, entangled with each other and difficult to distinguish. The small soul is in the supergod realm, and is Lei Pingping's original soul. The big soul has reached the godly realm, and comes from Lei Shan. It is unknown what kind of creature it is. The big soul almost completely wraps Lei Pingping's original soul, and the wrapping has been completed by 4/5. When the wrapping is completely completed, Lei Pingping's soul will be devoured, and it will also be the time when Lei Pingping dies. At that time, Lei Pingping's body may still be alive, but it will become a living dead. If a will is born, it will not be her. In Lin Moyu's perception, this big soul body does not have much consciousness, but only some instincts. This soul gives Lin Moyu a gloomy and evil feeling. How can there be such a thing in Lei Shan? What is the Lei family hiding? Lin Moyu knows that it is a secret related to the Lei family, and the Lei family will never tell him. In the information given to me, it was not stated what attacked Lei Pingping's mother at that time. Even the Lei family did not want people to know that there were other creatures in Lei Shan. In this regard, Lin Moyu did not want to delve into it. He took money from others and helped them to eliminate disasters. What Lin Moyu had to do now was how to save Lei Pingping. The magnificent vitality finally filled Lei Pingping's soul world. The huge soul seemed to be very interested in Lin Moyu's vitality. It squirmed wildly and wanted to devour it. Lin Moyu was not stingy, eat if you want. A large amount of vitality was sent over immediately. The vitality first entered Lei Pingping's soul body, flowed around in the soul body, and then was swallowed by the big soul. The big soul had already taken deep root in Lei Pingping's soul and could not be distinguished. Lin Moyu quickly outlined the location of the fusion of the two souls through the flow of vitality. In Lin Moyu's eyes, countless tentacles grew out of the big soul body, like thin needles, deeply piercing into Lei Pingping's soul. These needle-like tentacles constantly extracted power from Lei Pingping's soul to meet their own needs. It was like a terrible parasite. No matter how many natural treasures Lei Pingping ate, they would eventually benefit from it. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the life force sucked away by it was instantly transformed into the power of death. The power of death has the property of corroding everything. After entering the origin continent, it changed from the law of life and death to the avenue of life and death in the origin continent, and its power was stronger than before. Lin Moyu attacked the soul of the god realm with the power of the avenue of heavenly venerable realm, causing great damage to it almost instantly. It screamed in fear, and its soul body shook continuously. At the same time, the thin needles rooted in the soul of Lei Pingping, and at the same time, it ejected powerful power. Under the impact of this force, Lei Pingping's soul was immediately severely damaged and almost collapsed on the spot. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. He knew that this was the defense method of the huge soul. This was telling himself that if he killed him, Lei Pingping's soul would also be destroyed. Lei Pingping's soul body was hurt and immediately reflected in the flesh. Fine blood gushed out from his body, and in a flash, Lei Pian turned into a person. Wounds appeared one after another, and blood oozed from Lei Pingping's 7 holes, looking extremely scary. Lei Zhengying's heart tightened suddenly, and he instinctively wanted to stop it, but thinking of Lin Moyu's warning in advance, he stopped again. Lei Sanxiang was also nervous. What's going on? Lei Zhengying whispered, believe in fellow Taoist Lin. Lei Sanxiang suppressed his inner uneasiness, and after hesitating again and again, he could only bear not to do it. They all knew that Lei Pingping was now a dying horse, and if he was not treated, he would not live long. In the soul world, Lin Moyu sneered, I guess others would be helpless when they get here, but it's a pity that it doesn't work on me. The life force originally in the soul world surged wildly, densely entering Lei Pingping's soul body, and began to help her repair the injuries of her soul body. At the same time, the law of time gathered in his hand, and Lin Moyu pointed out with one finger, covering the 2 little souls of the day. Origin level magic, time curse. Instantly, the magic was activated, and 2 souls, one big and one small, fell into a state of time chaos at the same time. The law of space followed and merged with the law of time to form a time and space calendar. While the soul was in a state of time chaos, Lin Moyu made it fall deeper again and entered another time and space at the same time. Not only that, the star charm lich flew out and cast a great wave of illusion to confuse it, making it unaware of where it was and completely unaware of the damage. The power of death continued to exert force and constantly corroded it. At the same time, the business of life continued to repair Lei Pingping's soul body. Lin Moyu was very careful and had to be careful. Lei Pingping's soul was too fragile. If he was not careful, his soul would be scattered. In Lin Moyu's plan, it didn't matter how badly Lei Pingping's soul was injured, but he must not die. Once he died, he could only turn Lei Pingping into a resurrected person. There was no other way. As long as he didn't die, he had a way. In the courtyard, Lei Jingying and Lei Sanxiang looked at each other. They could not hide their shock. Lei Jingying exclaimed, "Fellow Taoist Lin is indeed a genius. He actually combines time, space, life, 3 great ways in one." Lei Sanxiang also sighed, "Yes, it is extremely difficult for others to cultivate one great way, but fellow Taoist Lin actually cultivated 3 great ways at the same time, and they are all extraordinary." Lei Jingying said, "The most important thing is that these 3 great ways are very difficult. I really don't know how fellow Taoist Lin did it." Lei Sanxiang said, "Maybe, this time Pingping is really saved. Let's hope so." Hope surged in the hearts of the two at this time. Lin Moyu's magic made them feel incredible. Cultivating 3 extremely difficult great ways at the same time and being able to reach the Tianzuan realm is simply a miracle. Maybe this time, another miracle can be created. Under Lin Moyu's careful manipulation, the evil soul body is being rapidly dissolved. Time and space are divided into 2, time is chaotic, and the illusion is confusing. It had no idea that it was dying, and had no idea what was happening. Until the end, it finally came to the brink of death. Facing death, it finally woke up, and an instinctive consciousness came out. "You can't kill me. If you kill me, she will die too." This evil soul only has some weak instincts and no real intelligence. It repeated this sentence over and over again, not begging for mercy, but more of a threat. Threatening himself with Lei Pingping's life. Lin Moyu chuckled, "Don't worry, Lei Pingping won't die." With a slight sound, the soul body finally collapsed completely, and the real soul flew away. At the same time, the thousands of fine needles pierced into Lei Pingping's Nuo Wanghao body collapsed at the same time. At the same time as the collapse, a wave of power exploded, instantly causing great damage to Lei Pingping's soul body. Lin Moyu had long been prepared for this move, and the power of life rushed in frantically to repair the soul body. Originally, in an explosion of this magnitude, the soul body should have collapsed on the spot. However, with the help of the power of life, the soul body was severely damaged, but it did not collapse on the spot. It's just that the current soul body is in a very bad condition, with more than 80% damage. The power of life can only temporarily maintain stability and cannot be repaired. A lot of blood burst out of Lei Pingping's body, countless wounds appeared, and his breath once fell to the extreme. Although Lei Pingping is still alive now, he may die in the next second. Anyone who is not blind can see that there is no hope. Lei Jingying and Lei Sanxiang's faces changed drastically at the same time. In their opinion, Lei Pingping's soul has collapsed and it is impossible to save it. But they still resisted and chose to believe in Lin Moyu and choose to believe in miracles. Countless cracks appeared in Lei Pingping's soul world, and this world was collapsing. Even Lin Moyu's life force could only slow down the process of the world's collapse, but could not reverse it. Lin Moyu had anticipated this result early on. The two souls had been together for more than 10 years and had long been difficult to separate. Moreover, this evil soul must have a backup plan. If it died, Lei Shijian would also die. Only in this way could it survive safely, and others would be helpless against it. When it completely devoured Lei Pingping's soul, it might even inherit Lei Pingping's memory, and then it would become Lei Pingping. I don't know how the Lei family will deal with it. However, in front of Lin Moyu, all of its methods were ineffective. Lin Moyu decisively killed it and only gave it the chance to hit the last blow. At the last moment, Lei Pingping's soul did not collapse. As long as his soul did not fly away, there was a chance for Lin Moyu. It's a death sentence for others, but not for me. A spiritual flower fell from the tree branch of the world, and through the connected soul, it floated into Lei Pingping's soul world. The spiritual flower exuded a strange power, instantly stabilizing Lei Pingping's collapsing world. The next second, the spiritual flower flew to Lei Pingping's soul, and the spiritual flower bloomed in full. The beautiful petals, with a strange fragrance, absorbed Lei Pingping's soul into it. The flower slowly shrank, like a gentle mother, gently soothing Lei Pingping's wounds. The soul world became stable, and the picture disappeared quickly. The evil soul that was killed by Lin Moyu before parasitized on Lei Pingping for so many years and absorbed countless soul power. After his death, the soul power did not completely disappear, and a part of it still remained in the soul world. Now, as Lei Pingping's soul recovers, these remaining powers are pulled by the spiritual flower and enter Lei Go's soul. Lei Pingping's injuries not only recovered steadily, but his soul was also getting stronger. Lin Moyu said softly, "Eat, try to eat more, these are all yours, now it's just returning them to their original owners." Looking at the picture of Lei Pingping's recovery, Lin Moyu knew that his plan was successful. The spirit flower really can repair all injuries, as it said, as long as the soul is not completely collapsed, it can be saved. For powerful practitioners, the body can be reshaped, the only trouble is the soul. Now the soul can also be restored through the spirit flower. It is hard to imagine how much the value of the spirit flower will be. If this news is released, I don't know how many people will come to Lin Moyu for help. Lin Moyu knows that he can't do this. If he really does this, what awaits him is probably not the person who comes to ask for help, but the person who kills him. Killing people for treasures is the norm on the origin continent. As for the Lei family, Lin Moyu is betting that they will not do this. Over the years, the reputation of the Lei family on the origin continent has been recognized. If he makes a mistaken judgment, Lin Moyu could only think that he was unlucky. Sometimes, cultivation is a gamble. The spirit flower became smaller and smaller, and finally disappeared. Lei Pingping's soul had fully recovered and was much stronger than before. At this time, Lei Pingping's soul realm was close to that of a god. As long as he practiced for a while, he could truly become a god. Lei Pingping had eaten too many good things, and with the huge accumulation of medicinal power, Lei Pingping itself had become a precious medicine. By then, a god who was less than 100 years old might appear. After confirming that Lei Pingping had fully recovered, Lin Moyu withdrew from Lei Pingping's soul world. He stood up slowly, clasped his fists towards Lei Zhengying and Lei Sanxiang. "Fortunately, I have fulfilled my mission." The two were overjoyed and fell from the air at the same time. Lei Zhengying came to Lei Pingping and checked his daughter. Lei Sanxiang asked, "How is it?" Lei Zhengying's eyes were full of disbelief and deep joy. He looked at Lin Moyu. "Thank you, Brother Lin." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "This is also the fate of Miss Pingping." Lei Zhengying laughed. "Brother Lin is very talented. Even the 6th level alchemy master can't do it. Brother Lin did it easily." "Is it really easy?" Lin Moyu is self-aware. If it weren't for the spiritual flower, he wouldn't be sure. Feb, now that he has invested a spiritual flower, the capital has been paid, and it should be rewarded. Lei Sanxiang said, "Fellow Taoist Lin, please feel free to ask for anything. As long as Lei can do it, I will agree to it." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Thank you, Senior Sanxiang. The head of the Lei family has already agreed to my request." Lei Zhengying nodded. "Don't worry. When Leishan is open in a few days, you will get a place in the core area." Lei Sanxiang said, "So you want a place in the core area? Pingping's life is worth more than this. You can think about it and ask for something else." In his eyes, Lei Pingping's life is of infinite value. A place in the core area of Leishan is not worth it. Lin Moyu stopped when he saw the good. Enough, the place in the core area is enough. If it weren't for this little guy, this place can be given up. The more Lin Moyu refused, the more Lei Sanxiang wanted to give it to him. He waved his hand. Not enough, not enough. If people know about it, they will think that my Lei family is stingy. In the past, we paid a great price to invite a 6th-level alchemy master, but it was useless. You don't need to say anything more, Lin Xiaoyu. I will send it to you tomorrow. You must accept it. Lei Sanxiang was in a very good mood at this moment, and was very polite to Lin Moyu. He called Lin Xiaoyu all the time, as if he had regarded Lin Moyu as his good brother. Whether Lin Moyu wanted it or not, he had to give it to her. If Lin Moyu didn't accept it, it meant that he looked down on him. Lin Moyu had no choice but to agree. Lei Zhengying took his beloved daughter back to the Lei family and called the servants to bathe and change her clothes. Lei Pingping was covered in blood at this time, and her appearance was very scary. But even so, she slept very sweetly. Lei Pingping had experienced life and death at this time, and she really walked through the gates of hell, and she had to sleep for a while. Even if the servants bathed and changed her clothes for her, she didn't wake up. Lei Zhengying and Lei Sanxiang were sitting in the courtyard. Lei Zhengying said, "Old third, what do you think of Lin Xiaoyu?" Lei Sanxiang thought for a while. He is a strange man. It can be seen that he is very young and has good cultivation. 1 inch. Lei Zhengying nodded slightly. Do you know why he wants a quota in the core area of Leishan? Lei Sanxiang shook his head. Didn't Lin Xiaoyu say that he wanted it for his disciple, the girl named Xiaoye? Lei Zhengying said, do you know that the Qicai sect is looking for a girl who is born with a soul-suppressing ability these days? Lei Sanxiang frowned slightly. Brother, do you mean that Xiaoye is the person the Qicai sect is looking for? Lei Zhengying nodded. The timing is just right. There are not so many people with jade souls in the world, and they are of similar age. Lei Sanxiang whispered, what are you going to do, brother? Lei Zhengying laughed. We can't let the 7-color sect find what they are looking for, but Lin Xiaoyu is too defenseless. You can give him something tomorrow. Also, tell Lufeng Chamber of Commerce that the number of places in the core area will be reduced by 1. Leiqing has become lively these days, and soon there will be 2 things happening in Leiqing. One is the annual auction of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. As one of the most powerful chambers of commerce in the entire Origin continent, Lufeng Chamber of Commerce has branches in several large cities. These branches hold an auction every year, and all the big and small forces will come. Each branch has its own specialties due to different regions, and many forces come for these specialties. For example, the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce in Leiqing, their specialties are some thunder-attributed materials and magic weapons. But this year's annual auction is different, because it happens to coincide with the opening of Leishan, and there will be an auction for the quota to enter Leishan. Many practitioners come here, some of them just for the quota to enter Leishan. Leishan belongs to the Lei family. Every time Leishan is open, the quota that can enter is naturally controlled by the Lei family. The quota can be divided into 2 levels. One is the ordinary quota, and the other is the quota for the core area. There are 1,000 ordinary places in total, while there are only 10 places in the core area, which is 100 times different. All the places are divided into 3 parts. One part is given to the Hansui Holy Land, and it is distributed by the Hansui Holy Land. Every time the Lei family gives the Hansui Holy Land a fixed number of places, 400 ordinary places and 4 core places. The Holy Land can get 40% of all the places. Normally, the Hansui Holy Land will take out half of these places for secondary distribution. As for who can get it, only the Holy Land knows, and no one dares to ask questions. In the second part, the Lei family will take out 300 ordinary places, plus 3 core places, and give them to the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce for lottery. These places will be won by the highest bidder, so that the Lei family can also make profits from it. Many family forces will come to bid, and some individual practitioners will also come. The core places are not something they can expect, and they can fight for all the ordinary places. As for the third part, It is the Lei family's own places. The Lei family also only has 300 ordinary places and 3 core places. However, the Lei family will usually take out 100 ordinary places and set up a ring in Leicheng. All people below the other shore realm can participate. The excellent ones can get the corresponding places. As for the 3 core places, the Lei family will not give them away. They are for their own use. Lin Moyu asked for a place in the core area this time, and the Lei family reduced the number of places auctioned to Lufeng Chamber of Commerce by 1, and still kept 3 places in the core area. After all, the quota is the property of the Lei family. It is up to the Lei family to give more or less. Lin Moyu knew nothing about this. In the morning, just after Xiaoye finished boxing, Lei Sanxiang had already brought Lei Pingping to find him. Lei Pingping's complexion today is obviously different from before, and his spirit is much better. Lei Pingping bowed to Lin Moyu as soon as he came. "Thank you, Senior Lin, for helping me." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Don't be so polite, go find Xiao Wu and the others to play." Although reborn, Lei Pingping's personality has not changed much. He is still lively and ran to the side to play with Xiao Yuan and Xiao Ye. Lei Sanxiang took out a box and put it directly on the table, regardless of whether Lin Moyu wanted it or not. "This is my personal thank you gift to you. It has nothing to do with the number of places promised by Big Brother." Then he took out 2 more cards, blue and purple. The 2 cards are not gold, iron, or jade, and the materials are very strange. There is a word Lei engraved on both cards, and both contain extremely strong thunder attributes. Lei Sanxiang put the blue card on the table. "This is called Laying card. Let Xiaoye activate and refine it. It can help her hide her identity as a living soul. This badge was made by my eldest brother. Ordinary Dao Zun can't spy on it. The 7 Color Sect is looking for Xiaoye recently. You have to be careful. If they target you, it will be very troublesome. Even if you are in Leicheng, Tian Kaijin will find a way to deal with you." Lin Moyu's heart tightened slightly. He took the badge and said, "Thank you for reminding me. I really didn't think about this." He thought that he would be safe when he came to Leicheng. Then Lei Sanxiang put the black sign on the table. "This is the token of the core land. Let Xiaoye refine it. And Leishan, this sign can guarantee her safety." Lin Moyu asked, "Senior, how safe is Leishan?" Leishan has been opened many times. Based on past experience, Leishan is extremely safe. But sometimes people die in it. But Lin Moyu thinks it's safer to ask. After all, Lei Pingping's mother was injured in Leishan. Lei Sanxiang said, "Leishan is naturally not 100% safe, but as long as you have the token, you generally won't get hurt. Especially the token of the core land, which is stronger than other tokens and is enough to guarantee the safety of those who enter." In previous trips to Leishan, no one who entered the core land had any accidents. Lin Moyu thought about it and couldn't help asking, "Yes, mother." Lei Sanxiang's expression changed slightly. "It was an accident." After hesitating for a moment, Lei Sanxiang spoke again. "Leishan is very big. We only open the outermost part. Even the core area is also on the outer periphery. 0, ask for flowers. And Pingping's mother is inside." Lin Moyu understood immediately that the real dangerous place in Leishan is inside, not in the open area. In this way, Moyu is relieved. From Lei Sanxiang's words, Lin Moyu can infer that the Lei family has actually been exploring Leishan. The Lei family does not really control Leishan, but only controls the outer periphery of Leishan. Leishan, the secret of the world. As long as you control a part of it, you can become a big force like the Lei family. If you can control it all, will the Lei family have a chance to be on par with the Holy Land? When I met Lei Zhengying yesterday, Lin Moyu felt that Lei Zhengying was unusual. There is a domineering aura in him. His goal is definitely not just to protect the Lei family, but to make the Lei family go to the next level. 0. If the Lei family can move up a level now, it will become a holy land. There can't be 2 tigers in one mountain. The Hansui Holy Land will definitely not agree. There will be a war at that time. Lin Moyu thought a lot in an instant. He felt that this land might be in chaos soon. But the next second, he felt that he thought too much. It's not his turn to worry about such things. Leiching, Lufeng Chamber of Commerce branch, the annual auction finally arrived. On this day, there was an endless stream of guests in front of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. All the service staff of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce came out to receive guests and were very busy. It's so lively. There are more people here than in the market in Linhai City. Xiaoya's eyes were shining with excitement. Since she could remember, the most people she had seen were in the market in Linhai City. The world of Leiching was new to her. Xiao Wu said with a smile, "Next time, let's go to the Master's Rule world, where people are called Tuesday." Xiao Wu looked like she had seen the world, as if to say, "Sister will take you to open your eyes." Xiao Yu simply believed and kept saying, "Okay, okay." Lin Moyu met Lu Yuan. As the branch president of the Chamber of Commerce, Lu Yuan went out to greet him personally. But for ordinary guests, it was not his turn to do it himself. Seeing Lin Moyu, he immediately ran over. "Mr. Lin, you are here." Lin Moyu looked at him. "President Lu, you seem a little worried." Lu Yuan sighed. "That's right, the Lei family originally gave 3 Leishan core quotas, but now it suddenly becomes 2. I have let the news out, and it's hard to explain now." Lu Yuan's frown was funny. He couldn't solve this problem at all, but he had to face it. His head was about to explode. Lin Moyu could only silently express that he could not help. Lin Moyu asked, "What good things will be in this auction?" Lu Yuan hesitated and lowered his voice. "According to the regulations, it must be kept confidential, but since Mr. Lin asked, Lu can reveal that there are 10 4th-level world-class origin crystals in this auction." While he was speaking, he closely observed Lin Moyu's expression. When he found that Lin Moyu was not moved at all, Lu Yuan was more certain that Lin Moyu was unusual. Ordinary people would be moved when they heard about world-class origin crystals. Even if you are a peerless genius, there will always be some changes. But Lin Moyu did not change at all. It can be said that he turned a deaf ear to it. This made Lu Yuan feel that Lin Moyu had seen the world and looked down on world-class origins. How could he know that Lin Mo767 had 5 5th-level world-class origin crystals in his hand? And in the future he can also fuse a stronger world-class origin crystal, so he has no feeling about the 4th-order world-class origin crystal that Lu Yuan said. Seeing that Lin Moyu did not respond, Lu Yuan changed the subject and said, "I wonder what kind of treasure Mr. Lin needs." Lin Moyu said, "Are there any high-level spiritual materials, such as spiritual origin crystals?" Lu Yuan was stunned on the spot, and the corners of his mouth twitched quickly several times. "Mr. Lin, you are joking. Spiritual origin crystals are too precious. Even if there are, they will not be auctioned in the branch. Then it must be the headquarters that is qualified to auction it. Ordinary people can't even see spiritual origin crystals, let alone get them. Even those big families may not be able to see them." Then he asked tentatively, "Mr. Lin, have you seen spiritual origin crystals?" Lin Moyu smiled. "I have seen them before. Mr. Lin is really amazing. He can even see spiritual origin crystals." Lu Yuan guessed Lin Moyu's identity and did not forget to flatter him. He led Lin Moyu into the Chamber of Commerce auction house, went directly to the 2nd floor, and opened a separate private room. The whole auction can be seen in the private room, and there is a formation in the private room to prevent others from snooping. After Lu Yuan left, Xiaoya asked softly, "Master, did you give me the quota of the Lei family?" Lin Moyu hummed, "It should be. When you go to the core area, you will practice with all your strength, hoping to get a good result." Xiaoya knew that the quota of the core area was very precious, otherwise Lu Yuan would not be so troubled. She clenched her fists tightly. "Master, don't worry, Xiaoya will definitely practice hard." Xiao Yu was very touched. She knew that Lin Moyu had paid a lot for her. At the auction, guests kept coming in and taking seats, and soon it was full. After waiting for a while, Lu Yuan walked to the auction table at the front. A formation was activated, covering the entire auction venue, and the entire space was suddenly shrouded by a strange force. This force is very strong, and it contains the breath of the Taoist master. If anyone dares to mess around at the auction, this formation will teach them a lesson. Some people even suspect that there is already a Taoist master in the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, but he is just hiding in the dark. Of course, this is just a precautionary measure. In fact, no one dares to offend the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. What's more, this is still Leicheng, and the Lei family alone is a hurdle that cannot be passed. Lu Yuan stood on the stage and said loudly, "Welcome everyone to participate in the annual auction of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, City Branch. Before the auction begins, I would like to apologize to everyone. Due to some special reasons, the number of core players in Leishan will be reduced from 3 to 2. No more nonsense, the auction will officially begin. Please invite our auctioneer." Because before the auction started, Lu Yuan had already explained the reduction in core players to most people, and this restatement did not cause much commotion. No matter what, this matter is over and will not really affect the auction. A beautiful and dignified woman walked to the auction table and introduced herself loudly. "My name is Lu Jun, and I am the auctioneer of this auction. Before the auction officially begins, I will first introduce the rules of this auction. In the first half of the auction, the prices of all auction items are based on ordinary third-level origin crystals. In the second half of the auction, the prices of all auction items are based on fine third-level origin crystals. When paying, higher-level origin crystals can be used for redemption, with a ratio of 1 to 10. The following will be the first item of this auction, a magic weapon of the Supreme Realm. This magic weapon is called the Broken Water Sword. There are a lot of formations engraved on the sword. It was made by a 4th-level weapon refining master and is superior in the Supreme Realm. The most important thing is that this broken water sword can be inlaid with origin crystals, which can greatly reduce the power consumption of the user. If you don't care about the cost and activate all the formations, the broken water sword can strike a blow that is almost as powerful as that of a heavenly venerable, but it can only strike once. Starting price, 100 origin crystals. Each bid is no less than 10 origin crystals. Now please bid. After some introductions, the auction officially began. It has been explained in advance that 100 origin crystals refer to ordinary third-level origin crystals. Everyone in the field began to bid. The first item was not of high value and was also a hot item, so the competition was not too fierce. Soon, a heavenly venerable bid 200 origin crystals. Price, and bid the magic weapon away. Then the second magic weapon was brought up, and a new round of bidding began. Lu Jun talked freely. Although she was only a supreme being and there were many celestial beings sitting in the audience, she was not at all nervous. In Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, the surname Lu means that you are a member of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. Like Lu Yuan, although he is only a collateral branch, he is still a member of the Lu family. Under normal circumstances, no one wants to offend him. The same is true for Lu Jun on the stage. She is also a member of the Lu family. Even if it is a celestial being, she has to give him some face. The auction is divided into 2 parts, the first half and the second half. The first half is for ordinary items, and the second half is the essence. Even ordinary items that can enter the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce auction are all fine products. Lin Moyu said, "See if you like anything, you can go and bid for it yourself." Xiao Wu looked at the auction house, and seemed to be very curious about every item, but she never bid. She was just curious. Ordinary magic weapons and the like could not arouse Xiao Wu's interest. Instead, she was interested in some novel things. Xiao Yu followed Xiao Wu to join in the fun, and did not bid at all. Items were auctioned one by one. In the first half of the auction, Lin Moyu was also not interested. With his current vision, the things that he likes are all fine products, which can only appear in the second half. Lin Moyu drank tea slowly, and he did not bid once until the end of the first half of 1.3. Not only him, but almost no one in the private room on the second floor bid. The people who can be in the private room have extraordinary identities. They basically come from major family forces. They don't like ordinary things. After a short break, Lu Jun announced the start of the second half. The second half of the auction is also the highlight of the entire auction. As an auctioneer, Lu Jun is obviously interested. The goods auctioned in the second half are all fine products among fine products. Once again, all the items in the second half will be settled with fine quality origin crystals. Please pay attention. The first item of the second half will be auctioned now. Lu Jun unveiled the first item of the second half. Like the first item of the first half, the first item of the second half is also a magic weapon. When Lin Moyu saw this magic weapon, he immediately became interested. The first item in the second half was a magic weapon of the Heavenly Venerable Realm, but it was only the worst grade in the Heavenly Venerable Realm. In the first half, a magic weapon of the Heavenly Venerable Realm did appear, but in terms of grade alone, this magic weapon could not be ranked among the fine products. The key is its function. It does not require the realm of the user. Even if it is not in the super god realm, it can be used. Lu Jun was obviously more excited than in the first half, and introduced this magic weapon in a fluent manner. This magic weapon is called Xuanguang Fist Gloves, which was made by a 4th level weapon refining master. It can be driven by the origin crystal. Up to 5 origin crystals can be inlaid on the gloves. If it is fully launched, the strongest attack of the Venerable Realm can be burst out. I think all the seniors have younger generations in the clan. If this boxing glove is used by your younger generation, it will be a great guarantee in terms of safety, comparable to a protector. I think all the seniors are very clear about its great value. The starting price of the boxing gloves is 100 origin crystals, and each bid must not be less than 10 origin crystals. Lu Jun's words were full of temptation, tempting others to buy. She was telling the truth. Many people present had descendants. This boxing glove can indeed bring great security to their descendants. 05. Lin Moyu had seen similar magic weapons on Gu Nianshui before. Of course, Gu Nianshui's magic weapon was stronger. This boxing glove in front of him is also good. If it is given to Xiaoye, Xiaoye's safety can be greatly increased. Lin Moyu was somewhat tempted, and so were the others. However, the price was indeed a bit high, and many people began to calculate whether it was worthwhile or not. As soon as the second half began, the origin crystals began to be settled at the boutique level. The value of 100 boutique level 3rd order origin crystals actually exceeded 1,000 ordinary level 3rd order origin crystals, exceeding most of the first half stranger products. And this price was only the starting price, and it was estimated that the premium would be several times higher. 100 boutique level 3rd order origin crystals were not a small amount for ordinary Tianzuan. Even many small families could not afford so many origin crystals. As soon as the auction started, someone immediately started bidding, and the price was quickly pushed to 200 origin crystals, directly doubling. Then the speed slowed down, the frequency of competition continued to decline, and fewer people bid. Lin Moyu said to Xiaoye, "Do you like it, Xiaoye?" Xiaoye looked at the boxing gloves, which were very delicate, and the array patterns on them were also extremely beautiful. The eyes had already said the answer, she liked it very much, but when she heard the price, Xiaoye still shook her head. Xiaoye doesn't need it. Being well-behaved and sensible, Xiaoye didn't want Lin Moyu to spend more money on her. Lin Moyu smiled and communicated with the formation, 300. His voice was transmitted through the formation, and the voice had changed. No one could match the voice at this time with Lin Moyu's own voice. At this time, the bid had just reached 220 origin crystals, but Lin Moyu suddenly bid 300, increasing the price by 80 at once. Lu Jun immediately shouted, "The senior in room 11 bid 300 origin crystals. Is there anyone who can continue to bid? 300 fine-grade 3rd order origin crystals. This price is already very high. Even if you buy some better Tianzuan realm magic weapons, you don't need this price." Most of the bids died down after Lin Moyu quoted the price. After Lu Jun confirmed it for the second time, a voice sounded, 320. Lu Jun originally thought that the boxing gloves would be sold at a price of 300, but he didn't expect that someone would raise the price. After a slight surprise, he immediately shouted, the senior in the number 5 private room bid 320. Is there anyone else to bid? 350. Lin Moyu didn't think twice and bid again. Lu Jun immediately changed his words. The senior in the number 11 private room bid 350. After this price appeared, the auction house fell silent again. Then some small sounds were heard. 350 fine-grade origin crystals. Buying such a boxing glove, it's not cost-effective. Even if it's for the younger generation, it doesn't need to cost so much. That's right, this magic weapon is actually very cheap. Xiao Yu said cautiously, Master, there's no need to spend so much money. Lin Moyu smiled slightly, no problem. Lu Jun waited for a few seconds and spoke again, is there anyone who wants to continue bidding? At this time, the voice of room 5 sounded again, 360. Lin Moyu didn't think twice, 400. At this moment, the auction hall was completely quiet. 400 fine-grade third-level origin crystals are enough to buy 2 excellent Tianzuan realm magic weapons. It is really not worth it to exchange for such a useless one. After a few seconds, room 5 bid again, 410. But it can be heard that the other party seems to be a little hesitant. Lin Moyu directly said after the other party bid, 500. The whole audience was silent, and someone whispered, he is not crazy, this boxing glove is only more than 200 at most. What a rich man. I wonder which big family he comes from. Even if you have money, you can't spend it like this. In the private room number 5, a young man looked gloomy. Why don't you let me bid more? The other man in the private room was a little older than the young man, almost middle-aged, and more sleepy and steady. He slowly said, this boxing glove is not worth it. The young man was obviously angry, but it is useful to me. There are many useful things, not every one is worth it. Our goal this time is to get a place in the core area, and everything else must be put behind it. After the middle-aged man stopped him, the young man remained silent and stopped bidding. After Lu Jun asked several times in a row, he finally announced, congratulations to the senior in the private room number 11 for winning the Xuanguang boxing gloves. The boxing gloves were taken away and would soon be delivered directly to Lin Moyu. One hand pays the other hand for the goods, which is the tradition of the auction. After Lu Jun finished the first auction, he started the second auction. The following is the second lot, 10 ordinary places to enter Leishan. I think all the seniors know the quota for Leishan, so I won't introduce it in detail. There are 10 ordinary quotas, the starting price is 200, and each increase in price must not be less than 20. The auction will start now. There are 300 ordinary quotas in total, and they are auctioned in groups of 10. As for how to deal with them after they are auctioned off, Lufeng Chamber of Commerce does not care, and the Lei family will not care either. Often, after someone auctions off the quota, they resell it at a high price of 0.23 to make a profit. Many people came to this auction just for the Leishan quota. Once the Leishan quota came out, the price was quickly raised. Lin Moyu was not interested in this, just watching others bid quietly. The trip to Leishan is only useful for practitioners below the Tianzuan realm. Lin Moyu and Xiao Wu are useless. Xiaoye already has a quota for the core area, so ordinary quotas are naturally not worth it. Dong dong dong. The door of the private room was knocked, and Xiao Wu ran over to open the door quickly, only to see Lu Wu standing at the door with boxing gloves. Lin Moyu smiled and said, I am flattered that the president personally delivered it. Lu Yuan laughed, the things Mr. Lin bid for, Lu will naturally deliver them personally. This sentence hinted that Moyu's identity was not simple. Lin Moyu could understand, but he did not delve into it. He took out 5 fine-grade 5th-order origin crystals that he had prepared long ago. It's okay to pay with this. Lu Yuan was overjoyed and nodded. Of course it's okay. Mr. Lin is really generous. After paying the money, Lu Yuan had to be polite for a few more words before leaving. Lin Moyu threw the boxing gloves to Xiaoye. Refine it. Xiaoye's voice was excited. Thank you, master. Lin Moyu laughed and watched the auction. 10 ordinary places were eventually sold at the price of 310 origin crystals. If calculated at this price, the Lei family can get back nearly 10,000 fine-grade first-order origin crystals just for ordinary places. It's really fast to make money. Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. With a big family and a big business, making money is really fast. Leishan quotas were grouped into 10 and were auctioned as commodities along with other auction items. The price of each group of Leishan quotas was not much different, basically concentrated between 300 to 350. Lin Moyu found that most of the quotas were auctioned off in the private rooms on the second floor. These people have family clans behind them, and these quotas are very useful to them. Watching the items being taken to the auction table and auctioned off, Lin Moyu never bid again. These things may be of good quality, but they do not interest him. When all 300 Leishan quotas were auctioned off, the auction was coming to an end. Xiao Wu asked curiously, Master, so many good things, don't you like them? Lin Moyu shook his head gently. It's not that I don't like them, but that they are useless. There are too many good things in this world, and not every one of them can be used by me. Xiao Wu thought for a moment. Yes, with the master's ability, these treasures are not very useful. Lin Moyu smiled. You understand again? Xiao Wu snorted. Of course, not very smart. Lu Jun's voice came from outside. The auction has the last 5 items left, and these 5 items are also the finale of this auction. First, the first item will be auctioned, 1 spot in the core area of Leishan. The starting price is 200 origin crystals, and each bid must not be less than 20 origin crystals. Start bidding now. 200. 230. 300. Finally, it was the turn of the Leishan core spot. As soon as the auction started, the bidding was extremely fierce, and the price was pushed up all the way. In the blink of an eye, it exceeded 500 origin crystals. 500 boutique-grade third-level origin crystals. This price is very high. If it were replaced with an ordinary first-level origin, it would be 500,000, which is an astronomical figure for ordinary practitioners. Xiaoye was also shocked at this time, so the quota for the core area is so expensive. Xiao Wu was also surprised. Isn't it just a quota? Why is it so expensive? Lin Moyu smiled. There are some special reasons. The cultivation speed in the core area of Leishan is 100 times faster than the outside world, and you can also get some extra benefits. In order to cultivate core disciples, all forces will find ways to let them go to the core area. In fact, the speed of cultivation is secondary. What we really want to get is that extra benefit. Xiao Wu's eyes lit up. What benefits? Lin Moyu smiled. You will know when Xiaoye comes back, and I will tell you then. Xiao Wu snorted. Master, how can you say half of the words? Lin Moyu explained. It's not half, but everyone gets different benefits. Some things should be obtained naturally, not deliberately. Xiaoye doesn't have to be deliberate when she goes, just practice. Our purpose is different from others, and we don't pursue those. Xiaoye nodded. Xiaoye understands. Xiaoye will work hard to practice. There is an origin spiritual vein in Leishan Mountain, and the power of the origin is incredibly strong, far exceeding the outside world. Practicing in the core is not only fast, but also very solid. As for those extra benefits, Lin Moyu did not force it. If there are, there are. If there are none, it doesn't matter. Congratulations to the senior in room 5 for winning the core quota of Leishan Mountain this time. After rounds of bidding, the quota of this core place was finally auctioned off at a high price of 1,200 origin crystals. The person who auctioned it off happened to be the one in room 5 who had bid with Lin Moyu before. This price is indeed very high. Some families cannot afford so many origin crystals even with their own property. Lu Jun was also very satisfied with the price, which could be clearly seen from her expression. Since the second half of the auction, she was obviously more excited than the first half. She has already started to introduce the next item. The item to be auctioned next is quite special. It is the remains of the second-level Origin Spirit Vein. I think all the seniors know the function of the remains of the Origin Spirit Vein, but I still need to introduce it here. The remains of the Origin Spirit Vein have a wide range of functions, which can be used in refining tools, refining pills, and feeding the Origin Spirit Vein. Lu Jun introduced the role of the spiritual vein debris. Lin Moyu also obtained the specific information of the Origin Spiritual Vein debris from the personnel department. Sometimes, the Origin Spiritual Vein will be exhausted due to various reasons, and eventually the spiritual vein will disappear, leaving only the debris. The debris will still retain some of the power of the Origin Spiritual Vein, which can be used as the Origin Crystal to refine tools and pills. At the same time, it can also be fed to the intact Origin Spiritual Vein to strengthen the Origin Spiritual Vein. But there are risks in doing so, and you need to pay attention to the properties. If it is not done well, not only will it not be able to strengthen, but it will damage the existing Origin Spiritual Vein. The value of the remains of the Origin Spiritual Vein is not small, but it is not much higher. Especially the one being auctioned now is only the second level, and its value is even lower. After Lu Jun finished the introduction, he announced the starting price: second level Origin Spiritual Vein debris, starting price 200, each increase must not be less than 20. The auction started, but the venue was silent, and no one bid, and both Lu and others were a little embarrassed. Many low voices came from the audience. The remains of the Origin Spirit Vein, unfortunately only the second level. If it is the third level, it is still valuable. If it is the fourth level, many people and forces will make a move, but the second level is too low. What's the use of the second level Origin Spirit Vein? Small families can't afford it because the family doesn't like it. It won't fail to sell, it will be bad if it gets out. Lufeng Chamber of Commerce rarely fails to sell, and any failure to sell is a stain. Lu Jun felt helpless, because there was no lottery item originally. 3 of the last 5 finale items were the core quotas of Lei Shan. But the core quota of the Lei family suddenly decreased by 1, and they didn't have enough time, so they could only bite the bullet and take out the remains of the Origin Spirit Vein for auction. The value of the remains of the Origin Spirit Vein can be high or low. The key is to see if anyone needs it. Lin Moyu looked at the origin of the spiritual vein, and suddenly said to Xiao Wu, take a look at the luck of this spiritual vein wreckage. Xiao Wu hummed, and the breath of the heavenly venerable burst out, and the invisible avenue of luck suddenly surrounded her. The powerful breath of the heavenly venerable diffused in the auction hall, attracting the attention of many people. Lili, what are you doing? Are you going to take action? No, this breath comes from the second floor. Someone may be performing a secret method. Why perform a secret method? This breath is a bit strange. It seems to be there and not there. It has form but no substance. This is the power of the void. It is a genius who has achieved the heavenly venerable through the void tribulation. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Achieving the heavenly venerable through the power of the void is completely different from the meaning of ordinary heavenly venerable. That is a genius of the real sky. As long as he can survive, it is almost certain that he will achieve the Tao Venerable in the future. Lu Yuan looked at the private room number 5, and he knew that Lin Moyu was in the private room. It turns out that Mr. Lin achieved Dao Zun by relying on the power of the void. No wonder Miss Feng Yao gave him a senior membership. Miss Feng Yao's vision is really strong. Xiao Wu's eyes were filled with mist, and he stared at the remains of the Origin Spirit Vein for a few seconds before he calmed down. The luck of this Origin Spirit Vein is very strong. Xiao Wu used the avenue of luck to see that the luck of this spiritual vein wreckage was very strong. Normally, even if a spiritual vein that has withered and died has luck, it is not that strong. Originally, Lin Moyu did not care, but just now he accidentally felt that there was a trace of life in this spiritual vein. Then he used the Eye of the Dead and saw a soul flame that was so weak that it could not be detected. A living being was actually born in the wreckage of the spiritual vein. Lin Moyu immediately thought of a possibility. The spiritual vein breeds living beings. Withering is just an appearance. In fact, this spiritual vein has a trace of spirituality and may breed living beings. When it is completely bred and evolved, it can become an original spiritual vein with spiritual intelligence. With the spiritual intelligence of the original spiritual vein, the future growth space is unlimited. In the history of the original continent, there have been original spiritual veins with spiritual intelligence. But few people know the specific information. After asking more than 20 heavenly lords, the human emperor only knew that such a thing existed. Just when Lu Jun was extremely embarrassed and felt that this item was really going to fail to sell and his auction career was about to be tarnished, Lin Moyu's voice like 960 heavenly sounds rang out. 200. A short offer, although only the reserve price, was enough to make Lu Jun excited. Lu Jun was afraid that Lin Moyu would go back on his word, so he immediately responded, "The senior in room 11 bid 200, is there anyone who wants to bid more?" There was complete silence in the venue, and no one bid more. Only a fool would raise the price. What's the point of this person taking the spirit vein debris? Is he going to feed his own origin spirit vein? The second level spirit vein is too weak and can't feed anything. Maybe he bought it for fun because he has a lot of money. After all, it is a rare item and can be collected. A group of people whispered to themselves with a little sarcasm. Most people think that Lin Moyu has too much money to burn. He spent 200 fine third-level origins to buy a useless collection. After waiting for a while, just when Lu Jun was about to announce the result, a deep voice sounded, 220. Lu Jun almost blurted out that Lin Moyu won the auction item. Fortunately, she stopped in time and shouted, "The senior in the number 5 private room bid 220. Is there anyone who wants to bid more?" Lin Moyu was also surprised that there was someone competing with him. He, Affy, looked in the direction of the number 5 private room. He couldn't see what was going on in the private room because of the formation. But he could feel that the other parties seemed to be looking at him. Lin Moyu raised the price again tentatively, 240. After waiting for a few seconds, the person in the number 5 private room also raised the price again, pushing the price to 260. Lin Moyu already knew what the other party was thinking, and drank tea slowly, shaking his head gently. "I'm willing to go for it." Xiao Wu also said, "Master, he did it on purpose." Lin Moyu naturally understood that the other party did it on purpose, precisely because of the Xuanguang boxing gloves. For the Xuanguang boxing gloves, he raised the price strongly, directly crushing the other party. The other party was still thinking about bidding for the quota of the core area of Leishan at that time, so he did not fight for it himself. Now that the quota is in hand, he will naturally not let me go. In that case, give him a surprise, see if you follow. Lin Moyu smiled and quoted a price, 500. When Lu Jun heard this voice, she couldn't believe her ears and raised the price from 260 to 500, doubling it on the spot. She even thought she had heard it wrong, and instinctively asked, "Senior, can you say it again?" Not only her, but many people in the venue wanted to know if Lin Moyu had made a slip of the tongue. Lin Moyu said, "You heard it right, the same price as the Xuanguang boxing gloves, 500. Lin Moyu deliberately mentioned the Xuanguang boxing gloves to make the other party feel uncomfortable. At the same time, he was also telling the other party, "Do you want to follow? Can you swallow this breath?" In the private room number 5, the young man who was originally gloomy was even more gloomy at this time. That guy knew. The middle-aged man snorted coldly, "Do you think others are fools? You did it so obviously, of course the other party knows it. But I advise you not to follow it again. As long as you quote the price again, the other party will definitely not raise the price again. Then I have to congratulate you, you have obtained a very rare collection. 11. At the same time, you have to think about how to explain to your father when you go back." The young man snorted coldly, "You don't need to teach me, I know what to do." The middle-aged man said, "I didn't teach you, I just told you a truth. If you like to be willful, that's your business. The young man rolled his eyes and sneered, I won't follow you. 500 origin crystals, this piece of garbage belongs to you. A moment later, Lu Jun announced that the remains of the second-level origin spirit vein belonged to Lin Moyu. The item that was originally thought to be unsold ended up being sold at a high price of 500 origin crystals, which made Lu Jun very happy. She started the next auction without stopping. The next one to be auctioned is a high-level material of the Tianzuan realm. This material comes from Leishan, called Thunderstone, contains the power of Thunder Avenue, and can be used to refine equipment. The starting price is 300, and each increase in price must not be less than 30. Another auction started. Thunderstone is a very high-level material in the Tianzuan realm. It can not only be used to refine Tianzuan realm magic weapons, but also in some Daozuan realm magic weapons. It is very valuable, and many people come here for it. The bidding was very fierce from the beginning, and the price went up all the way. There was a knock on the door, and Lu Yuan came with the spirit vein debris to deliver the goods. Lin Moyu was very straightforward, took out 5 fifth-level boutique origin crystals, and took the spirit vein debris in his hand. Lu Yuan said, this thing is actually not worth so much. Lin Moyu smiled and said, it doesn't matter, President Lu, I would like to ask what is going on in the private room number 5. Lu Yuan also saw that the person in the private room number 5 just now was intentional, and he also knew the other party's identity, but he couldn't say it. With a little apology, I'm sorry, Mr. Lin, the Chamber of Commerce has rules, I can't say it. Lin Moyu nodded, I understand, thank you, President. Lu Yuan turned around and said goodbye, and before leaving, he suddenly said, the last auction item is a world-class origin crystal. Mr. Lin may try it. Lin Moyu understood what Lu Yuan meant in a second, I will participate. After he left, Xiao Wu asked curiously, what does he mean? Lin Moyu said, he is telling me that the last auction item, the people in room 5, will also participate. Lin Moyu bid for the remains of the origin spirit vein at a high price of 500 origin crystals. In fact, it not only helped Lu Jun, but also helped Lu Yuan. The failure to sell has an impact on both of them. Lu Yuan didn't say it, but it doesn't mean that he is not grateful in his heart. Although the Chamber of Commerce rules prevented him from telling Lin Moyu the other party's identity, it is not impossible to remind him from the side. Now Lin Moyu knows that the other party will participate in the auction of the world-class origin crystal. Then you can't just sit there doing nothing. If you want to play, then let the children play for a while. Congratulations to the senior in room 2 for winning the Thunderstone. Lu Jun announced excitedly that the Thunderstone was bought by the person in room 2 at a high price of 1,500 origin crystals. Then came the second spot in the core area of Thunder Mountain, which was also the last spot. If you miss it this time, you will have to wait 100 years for Thunder Mountain to open again. The opening time of Thunder Mountain is not completely certain. Generally speaking, it will open once every 100 years. Because it is the last spot, the competition is extremely fierce, and everyone is bidding. This time, the spot was bought by the person in room 3 at a high price of 1,260 origin crystals, which is 60 more than the previous spot. Competition for more than 1,000 origin crystals like this basically has nothing to do with those sitting on the first floor. Finally, it was the last item to be auctioned. Lu Jun was a little excited at this moment. The next item to be auctioned is the finale of this auction, a world-class 4th-level origin crystal. The world-class origin crystal was revealed in front of everyone. Lufeng Chamber of Commerce was not afraid that others would snatch it, so it was displayed openly. The aura of the world-class origin crystal spread in the auction hall, and everyone stared with wide eyes and admired it carefully. The world-class origin crystal exuded a beautiful and dazzling light. Lin Moyu glanced at it casually and didn't care. This level of origin crystal was not worth his extra look. Among the people present, most people had never seen a world-class origin crystal, and they all exclaimed in admiration. This is a world-class origin crystal. It's really a beautiful thing. Although it's only level 4, its value is inestimable. At least it's worth 100 level 4 origin crystals. What a joke. That's just the basic price. World-class ones are in short supply. If you meet someone who needs it, even if the ratio is 300 or 400, they will rush to buy it. That's right. It's a pity that it's only level 4. If it can be higher, then the value is inestimable. The value of a world-class origin crystal lies not in its rank, but in its function. It can help people break through and strengthen their origin spirit veins, and its effect is much stronger than the origin spirit vein debris just now. A world-class fourth-order origin crystal can allow a supreme being to easily break through to the heavenly venerable, and there is almost no condition for the breakthrough. It can also greatly strengthen a fourth-order origin spirit vein. Its functions are too many and its quantity is too rare, so the price is extremely high. After Lu Jun introduced its functions, he listened to the discussions of the people below the stage and slowly reported its starting price. World-class fourth-order origin crystal, starting price 1,000, each bid increase is not less than 100. Now please make your bids, seniors. The reserve price was set very low. It was converted into a boutique-grade fourth-order origin crystal at a value of 100 to 1 world-class origin crystal, and then converted into a third-order origin crystal at a market price of 110. Everyone knew that this was just the reserve price, and it would definitely be overpriced in the end. It was hard to say how much the premium would be in the end. You can imagine that this was a battle between dragons and tigers. The moment the words fell, someone immediately made a bid. 1,500. The bidder came from room 5, and his tone was also a little excited. Lin Moyu smiled. You are so impatient. Don't worry. Take your time. Less than a second after he made his bid, someone immediately followed up and raised the bid to 1,600. After that, people kept raising the price, and the auction price of this origin crystal soared all the way, quickly breaking through 2,000 and reaching a height of 2,500. Until this moment, the bidding speed slowed down. No matter which medium-sized sect family, 2,500 fine-grade third-level origin crystals are not a small number. For ordinary people, it is a huge fortune. I am afraid that only large families like the Lei family will not take this wealth seriously. However, large families like the Lei family do not look down on the world-class fourth-order origin crystal. If they want their clansmen to break through, there will be better ways. If the Lei family also participates in the competition, then others don't have to compete. The bidding is still going on. When the bidding price breaks through 3,500, the remaining bidder is only the owner. They are Room 2, Room 5, and Room 7. Among them, Room 2 and Room 5 have bid for the quota of the core area of Leishan respectively, showing their financial strength. Although Room 7 has also made several moves, it was in the first half and has not shown its real financial history. Until now, they have made efforts and aimed directly at the world-class origin. Xiao Wu narrowed his eyes. Master, are we going to do it? Lin Moyu smiled. No hurry, take your time. Lin Moyu slowly drew the rune. Since the auction began, he has been studying the formation in the auction house. 0, *****. Now, I finally have some clues. A complex ancient rune was drawn and flew out from the palm. The ancient rune was silently integrated into the formation of the auction house. The formation of the entire auction house is a whole, and it is a formation. This gave Lin Moyu an opportunity. Relying on his understanding of runes, Lin Moyu drew an ancient rune. According to the standards of the origin continent, this ancient rune is of a very high level, reaching the 4th level. If according to the standards of the big world, the rune drawn by Lin Moyu is at least at the 6th level, almost the level of the former Saint Rune Heavenly Venerable. The rune drawn by Lin Moyu has no other function, just opening a back door for himself, so that he can move freely in the formation. Seeing that the rune was successfully integrated into the formation, Moyu summoned the brocade net monster. Genie Night Walk was activated, and Genie Witch flew silently towards room 5. The ancient symbol before opened a passage for Genie Witch. Genie Witch entered room 5 smoothly, and Lin Moyu saw the situation in the room through the sight of Genie Witch. A young man and a middle-aged man. The young man has the strength of God Realm, and the middle-aged man has the strength of Supreme Realm. The two look a bit similar, but they don't look like father and son, but like brothers. Lin Moyu saw a familiar mark on their clothes. Leiching, Yin family. The Yin family of Leiching is also a big family in Leiching, belonging to the 5-star power. Compared with the 6-star power of the Lei family, it is inferior. There are also Dao Zun in the Yin family, and there is more than one. They also have their own huge industry in Leiching. Some people say that the Yin family has a relationship with the Gu family of Hanshui Holy Land, so the Lei family can only accept the existence of the Yin family. Some people also say that the Yin family is a chess piece placed in Leiching by the Hanshui Holy Land, specifically used to check and balance the Lei family. There are various opinions, but it is undeniable that the Yin family is indeed very strong. Lin Moyu saw that the elders of the Yin family did not come this time, but only 2 juniors came. Obviously, the Yin family wanted the 2 juniors to come and gain experience. The middle-aged man was drinking tea on the side, calm and motionless, while the young man stood by the window and kept quoting. Lin Moyu took a look and had a solution. Some things require people to pay the price. The Yin family is strong and well prepared. When the bid reached 4,000 origin crystals, Room 7 also withdrew from the competition, leaving only the people in Room 2 and the Yin family in Room 5. In Room 5, the young man showed a gloomy sneer. The guys in Room 11 are scared and dare not compete with us at all. I said that you are too worried, brother. We are well prepared this time. No one can be our opponent. The middle-aged man said with some disdain, we are well prepared, but are others not? The people in Room 2 are also financially strong. The young man snorted, brother, you are like this, always thinking too much of others and looking down on yourself. Who are we? We are the Yin family. In Leiching, even the Lei family dare not do anything to us. We are. Before he finished speaking, the middle-aged man suddenly shouted, little brother, shut up. The aura of the Supreme was like a heavy punch, hitting the young man. 087 made the young man groan, and he could no longer say the rest of the words. The middle-aged man's voice was cold. At home, you can say whatever you want, but outside, you can't say anything you want. The young man looked at the middle-aged man angrily, with a face full of dissatisfaction, but he didn't dare to refute. Finally, the young man angrily quoted a price. At this time, the price had been pushed to 4,400 origin crystals, and the quotation speed was getting slower and slower. Only the people in the second private room were still competing with them. The middle-aged man said, we don't have many origin crystals. If the price exceeds 5,500, we can only choose to give up. The young man snorted, I won't give up. We have reached the limit, and they probably won't be much worse. In Leiching, except for the Lei family, who dares to compete with our Yin family in financial strength. The middle-aged man didn't speak, but his expression was very dissatisfied. However, the look in his eyes when he looked at his younger brother had both a sense of regret and a bit of pampering. From his expression, it can be seen that the relationship between the two should be good. Lin Moyu, an outsider, didn't think so. He looked at the young man of the Yin family as if he was an idiot. The Yin family is also a 5-star force with several Dao masters. It is an absolute big family. How could they cultivate such an idiot? But the more idiotic, the better. Compared to the idiot brother of the Yin family, his elder brother is much calmer. In Lin Moyu's opinion, he is a man of firm will. Fortunately, he is just the Supreme. There is no problem dealing with the Supreme. The bidding finally exceeded 5,000 origin crystals and reached 5,400, which was also the limit of the Yin family. The number 2 private room seemed to have lost its movement and did not continue bidding. The young man of the Yin family laughed. I said, they are also at the end. If you want to compete with our family, you are far behind. Suddenly, he shouted through the formation, the idiot in the number 11 private room, bid if you dare. He was a little crazy, and his eyes were a little red. This kind of direct provocation rarely appears in the auction. The middle-aged man's eyes were full of helplessness, and he secretly spit out 2 words, idiot. The young man laughed crazily and arrogantly. Everyone in the auction was watching this good show. The young man of the family continued to shout crazily, follow if you have the guts. As long as you follow, I won't compete with you. If you don't follow, you're a waste. In his provocation, Lin Moyu's voice came from the private room, 5,500. The young man of the family laughed. You followed, you actually followed. Are you an idiot? You actually followed such a high price. Didn't you hear what I said? As long as you follow, I won't argue with you. Lin Moyu said to himself, no, you will be quiet. The star charm lich silently passed through the formation and came to the number 5 private room. The invisible and dreamy light lit up. The young man of the family's eyes changed slightly, and he shouted again frantically, I will offer 10,000 fine-grade 3rd-level origin crystals. Boom! The entire auction venue was completely boiling. Lu Jun trembled violently, with an expression of disbelief. Are you sure you want to bid 10,000? The young man from the family shouted, sure, don't talk nonsense, hurry up and make up your mind. Guy from room 11, do you have the guts to follow me again? Lin Moyu's voice sounded, no more, the world-class origin crystal belongs to you. Lu Jun's voice also sounded, congratulations to the senior from room 5 for winning the world-class origin crystal. Ha ha ha. The young man from the family laughed wildly, and the laughter echoed throughout the auction hall. From beginning to end, the middle-aged man sitting in room 5 did not say a word. He seemed to have seen nothing, heard nothing, and drank tea by himself. Lin Moyu showed a sneer. The star charm lich returned silently, the brocade lich disappeared, and the ancient symbols in the formation also completely dissipated at this moment, as if they had never appeared. At the same time, Lin Moyu erased the marks of the 2 liches in the long river of time. No matter who comes, don't think about finding out the result of this matter. Even if the family wants to investigate afterwards, it depends on whether Lufeng Chamber of Commerce agrees or not. The laughter of the young man of the family has not stopped, and he is still laughing wildly there. And his eldest brother didn't know what happened. The illusion of the star charm lich is very powerful, and they don't know that they are affected by the illusion. How can a god and a supreme find the star charm lich? Xiao Wu laughed, Master, your trick is too bad. Lin Moyu shook his head and said, actually, it's okay. It just makes the family bleed, it's nothing. With the financial resources of the family, 10,000 fine 3rd-level origins can still be taken out. At most it will be a little painful. Xiao Wu asked, what if Fang Shi and the others can't take it out? Lin Moyu said, Lufeng Chamber of Commerce has a way to make them take it out. Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is a 6-star force, and its strength is even stronger than the Lei family, which is also a 6-star. Even the Hanshui Holy Land has to give some face to the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce sometimes. The family is only a 5-star force. How dare they go against the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce? They have to pay this money even if they don't want to. There was a knock on the door, and Lu Yuan came again. Lin Moyu smiled and said, why can't President Lu entertain that big customer? Lu Yuan smiled and said, that customer is too big, and the elders from the headquarters have already gone. Sure enough, the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce did have a Dao Zun realm coming to the auction site. Perhaps they were worried about accidents, so the Dao Zun realm elders were responsible for the family's transaction. The Lufeng Chamber of Commerce acted flawlessly, and the Lu family had no way to regret it. Lin Moyu smiled and said, congratulations to President Lu, the finale item was sold at a high price of 2.9. Lu Yuan said, I don't know why he was crazy, and he finally quoted such a price, but it's good this way, we can make more profit. He was frank. Being able to sell at such a high price is indeed an achievement for him, which will be more or less helpful. Lin Moyu smiled. Aren't you afraid that the Yin family will regret it? Lu Yuan said, they dare not. In the private room number 5, the crazy laughter of the young man of the Yin family stopped, and he looked strange. Why are they all looking at me? There is obviously a formation here. They should not be able to see me. He was a little panicked, knowing that the formation was there and others could not see him. But being looked at by dozens or hundreds of Tianzuan through the formation, he also felt a little numb. The middle-aged man of the Yin family also realized that something was wrong, as if something bad had happened. There was a knock on the door, and a strong breath of Daozuan rushed in from outside the door. Lin Moyu felt the aura of Daozun realm as soon as he left the auction. He knew that the Yin family had to pay this money. Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce could become a 6-star force second only to the Holy Land and dominate among the major chambers of commerce. Its methods are absolutely ruthless. Anyone who regards Lu Feng Chamber of Commerce as a pure businessman will definitely suffer a great loss. Lu Yuan sent Lin Moyu away and returned to the Chamber of Commerce until he could no longer see him. When he returned to the Chamber of Commerce, he saw the 2 Yin family members leaving like mourning their parents, and a Dao Zun was looking at them solemnly. Lu Fengqing was wearing a plain robe and a long beard that was very neat. He looked like a fairy, like a god. Lu Yuan came to the Taoist master, Elder Fengqing. What did they say? Lu Fengqing said, they don't have money for now, but I asked them to take a message back and ask the Yin family to send the origin crystal tomorrow. Lu Yuan asked, will the Yin family come? Lu Fengqing snorted coldly, they'd better take the initiative to send it. If they wait for me to come, it won't be settled with such a small amount of origin crystal. Lu Yuan knew the strength of the elder Fengqing in front of him. It would be difficult for the Yin family to evade debt from him. 05 Lu Yuan's eyes turned. Do you think there is anything strange about this matter? Lu Fengqing laughed. Does it matter? Even if there is something strange, what do they say? The whole process is recorded as evidence, so there is no need to worry about them evading debt. But what you said is interesting. They should have been plotted against by someone else. I am a little interested in the plotter. He thought for a moment and suddenly turned around and walked towards the number 5 private room. Come with me to have a look. He came to the number 5 private room and pointed his finger into the air. The formation was revealed immediately. His eyes were as sharp as a sword, sweeping across every corner of the formation. Lu Fengqing immediately let out a light exclamation. The formation has been tampered with. Lu Yuan showed a surprised look. This formation was set up by you personally, and someone could actually tamper with your formation. Lu Fengqing looked serious. He didn't expect that someone could actually tamper with him. He was proficient in formations. Whether it was to set up formations with objects or with talismans, he was good at it. In the Chamber of Commerce, he said that his formation method ranked second, and no one dared to say that he was first. The formations of each branch were basically set up by him personally. Now someone could tamper with his formation, which really surprised him. He carefully searched for the veins of the formation, and gradually saw the traces of the formation being changed, and traced the source. Lu Fengqing said affirmatively, it was the person in room 11 who changed the formation. Lu Yuan's whole body trembled violently. It was Lin Xianya. Lu Fengqing snorted, dare to tamper with my formation, you are really tired of living. He looked murderous. Tell me, who is the person in room 11? I'm going to teach him a lesson. Lu Fengqing was very upset that his formation was moved. This was an insult to him as the master of the formation. Although the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce had rules that bitter information could not be disclosed. But the rules were for the outside world. Lu Yuan did not dare to hide anything from Lu Fengqing. Lu Yuan said, his name is Lin Moyu, and he is a senior member of the Chamber of Commerce. Lu Fengqing said, so what if he is a senior member? Senior members cannot move my formation. At most, I will not kill him, but I will beat him up. Lu Yuan continued, his senior membership was given by Miss Feng Yao herself. Lu Fengqing snorted, so what if Miss Feng Yao gave it to him personally? Suddenly he screamed, say it again, Who gave you the membership? Lu Fengqing said, It was Miss Feng Yao. Lu Fengqing's eyes widened, muttering to himself, It turned out that the girl gave me a senior membership. No, I can't afford to offend this girl. When she comes back, I will take away the Hu Zi of Yu Bagwan's Weiwei. Forget it, then I won't beat him. Lu Fengqing decided to let Lin Moyu go, which also made Lu Yuan relieved. He didn't want to offend either side. He couldn't afford to offend Lu Fengqing or Lu Fengyao. Lu Fengqing's eyes turned, but this kid can actually tamper with my formation. He is quite capable. I have to try him. If possible, taking him as a disciple may be a good choice. Let me see what you did. Lu Fengqing checked again carefully. The formation has many functions, and recording what happened is one of them. Lin Moyu never thought that he could still meet the owner of the formation after he had wiped out the traces. Only the owner of the formation can see that he has moved the formation and find clues. Other than that, it is difficult for others to find out. Although Lu Fengqing found that it was Lin Moyu who did it, after some investigation, he did not find out how Lin Moyu did it. Even when he used the magic weapon to go back in time, he could not find any traces. Lu Fengqing said, This kid is really thoughtful. He even erased the time mark, and even I can't see through his means. It's a bit interesting. Lu Yuan asked, Elder, since it is confirmed that Mr. Lin did it, then the Yin family. Lu Fengqing said with some disdain, The Yin family is the Yin family. The Yin family doesn't know that someone else did it. Even if they know, what can they do? Do they still want to deny it? You go down first, and I will study how this kid moved the formation. 000. Back in the yard, Lin Moyu asked Xiaoye to refine the Xuanguang boxing gloves, and he began to study the remains of the origin spirit vein. Put the remains of the origin spirit vein into the rule world and study them carefully. Gradually, he figured out the specific situation of the remains of the origin spirit vein. In the remains, there is indeed a living being. This living being is very weak, so small that it can be almost ignored. It seems that for some reason, the breeding failed. 247. Although it failed, it also made the origin spirit vein produce a trace of spirituality, but it is not a real spiritual origin spirit vein, just a wreckage. If this thing is used to feed the spirit vein, it may not be as good as the world-class origin crystal. If it is used to refine tools and pills, it may not be as good as some high-level spiritual materials. It's really a bit useless. He sent a thought to Infinite Fusion. Do you want this thing? There is at least a trace of spirituality in the wreckage. Maybe Infinite Fusion will want it. It was with this in mind that Lin Moyu decided to take a picture of it and try. Infinite Fusion flew over, circled the spiritual vein wreckage twice, and then flew back without looking back. At the same time, it also sent a rubbish, don't want it. Lin Moyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If you don't want it, then don't want it. Why are you still calling it trash? Infinite Fusion had eaten a 6th level spiritual origin crystal, and it was the kind of person who would never look down on trash again after eating good things. But it has always been like this, and Lin Moyu was just trying it. Lin Moyu looked at the wreckage. If Infinite Fusion doesn't want it, then what's the use? Lin Moyu felt like he had really brought back something useless. It was useless to keep it, but it would be a pity to throw it away. At this moment, the world tree suddenly swayed, making a rustling sound. A thought came. Give it to me, stay with me.